Chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted. Look, faking the lead, we don't follow. We need it now, not tomorrow. Don't care what they say, not changing the pace. Working too hard to be last in the race. So much time in the day, and it ain't none to waste. Working this hard to be one of the greats. Whatever it takes, put that on the plate. Life is a gamble, we raising the stakes. Moving the bar up so high. Been on our grind, for life. Bringing the light, you just so bright. We shining, platinum sound cool, but we trying to reach down. Work pays off, that's perfect timing. Changing the world with this rhyming, it's priceless. We got the nicest by putting the time in. Can't be the greatest, I'm not even trying. What now? We on the chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted. What now? We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. What now? We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up.
Man, I lost track of time. I apologize, Mama. Go ahead and eat without me. I'm still on the grind.
I ain't touching home base by dinner time. All I can see is the finish line. Started, I gotta finish mine. It's get it time, anytime, hella long. I've been in line, I didn't mind it all. Waking bake won't take a break at all. That's on my word, my boss. Naming lights gon' have to pay me twice or pay me no mind, and I don't mind it all. My grind is green, I am my job to inspire. I'm right behind Gote, line has been fired by a chain for a time. I ain't get hired, second week kicked in, I probably won't get tired. Kevin Gates and Kevin Bacon, only 6 degrees of separation between me and the next level of elevation. Perseverance, the art of dedication. What now? We on the chase to the sundown. We on the chase to the sun up. What's up? Leading the line when we run up. Chasing, chasing, chasing. Every day we chasing, chasing, chasing. No time to be wasted.
Hello everybody, welcome. How is everybody doing today? Welcome to GT45 Gaming, live on your mobile devices, laptops, tablets, and big screens at your home, office, or favorite space to watch sim racing content. We are presenting here this evening for the Infinite Racing League. It is round 5 of the GT3 Summer Series, partnered with Coach Dave Academy. And we are here at Circuit de Spa. So that's right, ladies and gentlemen, Spa. We are on an absolutely great racetrack for racing here tonight. And we got something a little bit different this week compared to what we've been seeing so far in the previous 4 rounds. We have seen lengthy endurance racing from these drivers in the first 4 rounds, like Gunaseca, Coda, Donington Park, and Snetterton. Today, we see 2 25-minute style sprint races here at Circuit de Spa. We're going to see 2 qualifying runs, and then we're going to see 2 rounds of racing. Right now, we are in qualifying number 1. There's 4.5 minutes remaining. We do apologize about being late for the broadcast here this evening. We were having production technical difficulties, and it took us a little extra longer to get on here this evening, but welcome in wherever it is you're viewing. We are live on the GT45 Gaming Facebook and YouTube channel, and the Infinite Racing League Sim Racing channel over on YouTube as well. So wherever it is you're viewing from, welcome. We hope you enjoy the show. What are we going to see tonight? We are going to see some spicy racing. Sprint racing and endurance racing are 2 different things here. Endurance racing, the drivers are a little more pretentious, are a little more cautious most of the time. They have a strategy worked out in their mind. They have tires, they have fuel, they have lots of things that they need to factor in to an endurance race. When you're sprint racing, it is all about the speed in a short amount of time and trying to optimize the amount of positions you can get on the racetrack. There's not a lot of time to make up for a mistake or a crash on the racetrack, so you need to be perfect, but you need to be fast. We are going to see drivers pushing, we are going to see door handles being scraped and rubbed, we're going to see tires rubbing, and we are going to see some pretty hot, intense action over two 25-minute races here this evening. So I hope everybody's prepared for some pretty spicy action coming from the Infinite Racing League tonight. It's going to be a good night of racing here at Spa. Spa provides great racing. You can do a lot of 2x2 racing around this racetrack, and it is a very high speed but yet technical circuit all at the same time. As you see, we are on board with current second place driver MX Blocks of Johnny B, our current championship points leader, I believe, or right there in behind Blocks. It's super close between the two drivers right now in the first two positions in the standings. Everything counts tonight. I mean, we have two races tonight, so there are two sets of points that are available to all the drivers here tonight as well. So the drivers that are unable to make round 5, that are trying to fight for ultimate championship bragging rights here this season, are really going to have a hard time because they are missing out on 2 point sets here today. So the drivers that are on track today are going to really shoot up the standings as far as the championship overall standings goes, because they're going to have an attempt at 2 races to collect as many points as they can. So 2 sets of races means 2 sets of points available to all our drivers here today, and that is really going to shake up the way the championship standings could potentially look. And again, because we're sprint racing today, we're going to see the action be a lot more intense, and we're just in for some good racing tonight without a question of a doubt. So let's go checking through our field here. Let's see who else we got here. We've got Johnny B, current pole sitter right now. We got Kalu at 94 back on track here in the Audi, currently sitting in 15th position. We've got Scary Guy for You in the green and blue Audi back on track here this week. Fantastic stuff. Currently sitting in 10th position. We've got Rapid Duck sitting in currently sitting in 12th place there as he just lost a position. Number 48 driver here in this BMW. This driver is definitely one of the drivers to be looking out for this evening. Very fast race car driver. Now, how that BMW handles around Spa, I guess we'll wait to find out. We got GLR Racer in 8th place currently right now with his BMW. We've got GLR Seal in 6th with their BMW. We've got Tango 2 also in a BMW in 7th position. We've got Cletus in a BMW here in 5th. We've got PP Yakast here in 13th position with the McLaren. We've got Arcano Mercio back with the Porsche here as well in 17th. We got Tenacious Evil here in 14th with that Mercedes, and that's a pretty snazzy looking Mercedes right there, if I gotta say, ladies and gentlemen. Beautiful job there. We've got these beautiful blue and purple Ferraris here from Fluka on the racetrack as well. Fluka's been having a pretty good run here so far this season in that Ferrari. We got Riot Racing on track as well here. He's opted to go with the Ferrari as well. We've got Critico here, also another very quick driver, currently in the NSX, sitting in 2nd place just as he comes across the line there. So his first official hot lap was a cooker, sitting in 2nd place. We've got JDR back on track with the Team Lamborghini as well. So lots of familiar faces. We got H Josh here, new face. I think it's a new face here, or at least first time in the series that I can recall. Who else have we not covered yet? I think we've gotten through our driver field here. It does seem to be that way. So I did see 17 drivers sitting in pit lane here when we started the broadcast today. So it does look like we're going to have a very sizable field as well. Now, I'm not sure what layout we're running here today. If we're running the 24 layout, then the start-finish line at the beginning of the 2 races will actually happen after turn 1, after La Source. And the drivers will start in between La Source and Rouge, or the entrance of course, the uphill S's, leading between turn 1 and turn 2. That is where the start-finish line will be. However, if it is the regular layout here at Spa, then the start-finish line will be in its regular place right after the chicane, on the final 2 corners leading into pit entrance. And then of course the start finish line is only about 200 meters or maybe even less off of the chicane at the top of the hill. If that's where the drivers will be starting, then of course turn 1 will come into massive effect here at the beginning of this race. The drivers will really have to be on point going into La Source. We had a little bit of contact there between the NSX and the BMW driver there as qualifying was ending, so that was unfortunate there. A little bit of incident between Critico and Cletus right there, but a qualifying timer has run out here, so hopefully Cletus wasn't up on his lap there. But it is also now a red lap for Critico here, as you can see on the screen, so it'll void lap here anyways for this driver now at that point. Now we should see a second qualifying session happening after this one. This was qualifying 1. We do have 2 25-minute sprint races here this evening for everybody, which means we will have 2 qualifying sessions. Qualifying 1 will be the qualifying session for race 1, which will be held here in daytime conditions at Spa, and then that'll lead us into what we're about to see here shortly in qualifying 2. That will take us into the positions for race 2. So qualifying 2 will determine, of course, our starting grid for race 2, and that race will be latter towards the evening here tonight. So we're going to see a little bit of daytime racing, and we're going to see a little bit of nighttime racing from all our drivers here at Assetto Corsa Competizione and the Infinite Racing League on our PlayStation 5 consoles this evening. So it should be a pretty spicy day. It's always, sprint racing is always spicy action. Sprint racing brings a different attitude to the drivers and behind the wheel, and just a whole different vibe. We have 17 drivers on track, so we do see 17 drivers on track. So we do want to reach an extended extra special shout out to IRL Choco 2225. You can see him as a spectator mode on the bottom of the screen there. He is one of the head league officials here at IRL. It is his 48th birthday today, so let's get some happy birthdays, Choco, up in the chat. Let's wish the man a good birthday. And he looked like he wanted to race today, but you know, when it's being your birthday and the birthday bumps coming into play, I don't know if a guy wants 48 bumper-to-bumper bumps on the racetrack here today. That seems like it would be a long day of racing. No, I'm just kidding. But you know, happy birthday to Choco. Much love, my dude. I hope your day's been absolutely fantastic, and well, better way to finish it off with some hot racing action here at IRL. I mean, what can I say? All right, so now we got to wait for qualifying 2. So we still have some green flags on cars, so we're just waiting for those checkered flags to show up, and then we'll, of course, get ready to do our second qualifying stint here at Spa. And then these drivers will get ready to set those cars up for race 1 of 2 races here tonight. It's going to be fun. This is going to be some good stuff here. I never really thought about podium interviews in this style of setup for the league here today, so I'm not sure how we're going to approach that yet, but, well, we'll try to sort that out, I guess, as we go. Alright, so how's everybody's weekend been? Hopefully we all had some nice weather this weekend. Maybe we got to go do some camping. How's it going, Nuclear? Happy birthday. Appreciate you, my dude. Appreciate you. You know, maybe we just had some family and friends over. Maybe we just stayed at home, we chilled. Maybe we just spent our time hanging out sim racing or doing something else. What's everybody been up to this weekend? Hope everybody's been fantastic. I hope everybody's doing well. Alright, I think we're almost ready here. Oh, I'm trying to use a different controller, and it seems not to be working. Alright, so we're starting to get checkered flags coming across the board here. Drivers are going to set those tunes, of course, now for the next qualifying session. And again, qualifying 2, the times based off qualifying 2 is going to be determined where the drivers will line up in, of course, race 2. So qualifying 1 is qualifying for race 1. Qualifying 2 is qualifying for race 2. So we should see that qualifying run shortly, if I'm not mistaken. So it was Johnny B on pole, it was Critical Basilico in second place, it was MX in third, it was High Josh in fourth, it was Kalu in 94 in fifth, Fluka in sixth, Rapid Duck in seventh, Cletus in eighth, Seal in ninth, Yakast in 10th, Marcio in 11th, Tango 2 in 12th, Riot Racing in 13th, Racer in 14th, JDR in 15th, Scary Guy for You 2 in 16th, and Tenacious Evil in 17th. And it doesn't look like it registered at times, so I had a little struggle here at Spa in that first qualifying run. So it's going to start at the back of the pack in race 1, but that doesn't mean anything. Racing and qualifying are typically 2 different things for racers. In the middle of a tornado watch, oh, take care, be safe, my dude. Be safe, my dude. You know, I never like to hear that. Never like to hear that. Hopefully everybody's safe down in your area where you're at, and hopefully everything goes a-okay here throughout the next little while. All right, we're going racing, chat. I wasn't sure if qualifying 1 and 2 was going to go, and then race 1 and 2 was going to go, so that's on me. But we are going to start race 1 here. So we got 17 on track. We will sit on board with 8th place driver Seal for the start of this race. And then once we get through the first few corners, we'll go try and find all the racing action. Hey, appreciate you, Joe. Good lucky coming in, saying there, coming in with that like on the stream as well. Gary coming in with that like a little while ago as well. Hope you're doing fantastic, my brother. All right, so 17 on track. This is going to be an interesting race. Sprint racing is a whole different thing. We're going to see a lot of attempted moves. We're going to see a lot of pressure by a lot of drivers on drivers trying to gain position. We're going to see some faux pas. We're going to see some guys making mistakes because they're pushing a little bit harder than, say, you would be in endurance racing. Now, 35 minutes isn't a short amount of time, but it's not really that long amount of time. Like I said, if you're involved in a very early race incident with only 35 minutes on the clock, chances of you recovering from that incident are going to be very, very difficult. So the first few laps, getting the car in optimal racing conditions is really, really important, more so in sprint racing than endurance racing. You know, if you get a little caught up in endurance racing, there's always a possibility that you're still going to gain positions because you still have 50, 60, 90 minutes remaining in that race. Strategy is going to come into play. Pit strategy can come into play, save you some time, get you some position back. In a 35-minute sprint race, not so much the same, unless everybody's having similar struggles, then maybe, but for the most part, I mean, we're not going to see pit stops here. We're going to see these guys go full out and just send this thing for 35 minutes. So it's going to be some spicy racing without a question of a doubt here tonight. So we are going to be going into race one. I wasn't sure exactly how the setup was going to run down here. Sometimes they do qualifying runs before they do the races, but in this case we're going to see qualifying race. So that is my apology for the misinformation there, as I was misunderstood on how things were going to happen here this evening. So we're 1 minute away from race start here. Like I said, we're going to jump on board with 8th place driver Cletus, as he's kind of that middle pack driver. That should allow us to catch the majority of what's happening into the first few corners. And what we're going to see is a virtual car safety lap, essentially. So there won't be a real pace car on the racetrack, but there'll be a virtual race car. And what happens is race control is on the radios with these drivers. Of course, the drivers have special radio frequencies built into their cars and headsets that is connected directly to race control. And that is so race control can, of course, assess any live penalties that need to be assessed or whatever the case may be. But it gives them an immediate communication with the driver, so the driver knows exactly what's coming down from race control. Scott Arthur coming in with the thumbs up as well. We appreciate you, my guy.
10 seconds.
So what's going to happen is these guys are going to go single file in the position they qualified in, and they're going to drive single file around about 2/3 of the racetrack. I assume by the time we get halfway down the straightaway at the end of Blochemont, heading into the S's, we're going to see these drivers line up 2 by 2 as per race control's request. They will be required to maintain a certain amount of speed heading up to the green flag drop. If race control is satisfied that the grid order is indeed correct and everybody is in line and where they're supposed to be, that green flag will drop and these drivers will get racing. Now, with that being said, the drivers have to be careful. They cannot pass or exceed their position until the start-finish line, and they cannot pull out a line until their finish line. So they do need to be very conscious at race start of where that start-finish line is. And again, I'm not sure if we're starting on our 24-hour layout here today, or if we're going to be starting on the regular layout start-finish line. So that is yet to be determined. We'll find out here in about 2 minutes' time. Times around the racetrack here, we are green, so we got a short one here tonight. We got one corner warm up here, so my mistake. So we're off, ladies and gentlemen, 2 by 2 up Rouge and Loradion, and it's race time here. So not a lot of time for the drivers really to get those tires and brakes warmed up. Everybody's on cold tires, everybody's on the same conditions, and oh boy, we're racing. So here we go. It's MX Bloxham right now in 7th place. I'm not sure what happened to our 8th place driver there, but Bloxham right now just dropping down the field a little bit here early on, and again a little bit. I think he was one of the drivers that made a little bit of contact heading up into Rouge, so it just cost him a little bit of momentum more than anything else. So far it looks like we do have a yellow on the track here, so somebody in trouble on the racetrack here. I don't have the map up, so I don't know exactly where it is. We do have a couple drivers a little bit further behind here in the pack now, so alright, let's get going here. So we got an interesting, this is a beautiful racetrack here. It's a racing racetrack. You can see these drivers are utilizing every millimeter of this racetrack as well. So now we're heading into Pouon for the first time. This is a very high speed double apex, elongated hairpin corner. You're not really slowing down a whole lot for this corner. You're trying to maximize as much speed as you can without going off into the artificial turf and no man's land there. It gets a little bit icy out there for the GT3. Ooh, Rapid Duck had to bail out there a little bit as he was coming in to the S's there, as he almost got into the back of Bloxham there. So that was good recognition right there by Rapid Duck, and a great job not to make contact there. But coming in a little hot to make an avoiding action there. Didn't lose a position, just lost a little bit of time. So that was a really great job there by Rapid Duck. Johnny B here sitting in second place right now. Critical Basilico is in first place with that Honda NSX, followed by Audi. So Audi looks like to be a very strong car here on Spa as well. So it is Johnny B in second. We got Clue in 94 here in third place. And he's got some pressure from Hi Josh as well. H Josh, sorry. As well here in behind. So let's stick with this as we head into the chicane for the first time here, and this is typically where the race will start. So this is where the race will finish here today, right here where they cross this line. This is where, of course, the race will be flagged down as a race finish here today. So it's an interesting little start-finish line set up here at Spa, but we are starting on the 24 layout start-finish line. We got a side-by-side battle coming into the source in the back there. It's H Josh and Loxham battling for that position right there, and it looks like Bloxham got the position. No, it does not. It looks like H Josh got the position on Bloxham in behind there. So H Josh and Bloxham battling for fourth place. We got Scary Guy here in 15th, Rapid Duck in 6th, and we've seen Rapid Duck there have to do a little bit of evasive action, so he's just getting back up to pace here. He's starting to close back in on that group in front. He's got Cletus and Fluka right in behind in tow as well. GLR Racer here in 12th place. Where is he? There we go. Yellow and blue BMW here. He's a little bit, 1.2 seconds in behind Riot Racing in that Ferrari. And this is a pack starting to separate just a tiny little bit here early on. Again, we had a little bit of accordion effect coming into the source in the first few corners of the racetrack. We have that many cars barreling down. Of course, that is going to happen. And it does spread the field out only for the time being. This is sprint racing, so once these guys get their setups and their cars kind of locked into where they want it, we're really going to start seeing drivers push. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen. Arcano Marcio here in the Porsche 17th position here right now, so may have been the yellow flag up at the beginning of the race. He was a little higher up in qualifying, so maybe this was a driver that had a little bit of an issue there. And only half a second in behind JDR in a Lamborghini here temporarily. Ooh, Tenacious Evil. And I believe that was Tango 2 just going off the road there in front. Now, I'm not sure if that was due to contact or if that was just a braking error, but Tenacious D grabbed a spot there in 13th. And it looks like Tenacious D has had a little run-in with the wall there too, as well, as we can see some pretty good paint damage on the right-hand side of that race car. Ooh, and speaking of Feluca, oh boy, and that is unfortunate. He collects up Rapid Duck right there. Ooh, coming around the Paul Frere curve, he gets outside into that artificial turf, and he just slides back across the track. He collects up Rapid Duck. Rapid Duck goes hard into the wall there, and still yet to get that car fired back up and turned around. But just the wrong place at the wrong time there for Rapid Duck, and really unfortunate incident right there. And the Paul Frere curve, we talked about that artificial curbing on the outside of that red and yellow-orange curbing we see. That is slippery. It's like ice under these racing slick tires. So we just seen a perfect example of what can happen when a car gets a little tire spin on that artificial curbing. And ooh, that was tough. That's unfortunate, as Rapid Duck just got collected up in that there. Riot Racing here in 9th place. He is tucked right up in behind Yacast and Seal right now, so a nice healthy little three-way battle happening here on the racetrack tonight. And Rapid Duck there maybe in pit lane getting that car fixed up. That looked like he went into the wall pretty hard on the nose there, so super unfortunate there for Rapid Duck. All right, we got Riot Racing right here is sitting in 9th place, and this is a Ferrari driver. He's tucked in behind a BMW and a McLaren right now, and he's got a BMW chasing in behind here as well, but a little bit of a gap there, 2.2 seconds, but he is all over the back bumper of this BMW right now, and just trying to look for a way around. He's also trying to keep a little bit of clean air in the race car. That's why we're seeing him weave left and right coming into the corners. He's just trying to get some fresh air into the car to hopefully get it to respond properly under braking and turn in properly. When these cars are stuck in dirty air, they don't quite have that aerodynamic force that the drivers are expecting out of them, and that tends to force them a little wide into the corners and makes the cars a little bit unpredictable. And oh boy, that looked close right there, as Yacast had an incident how he headed into the poo on there, and he went nose first into the right side wall on the infield side of the corner there. That was some great reaction time by Riot Racing right there to not get collected up in that as well. So a couple of our drivers struggling early on here in the race. Our fastest racer is Critical Basilico currently, but of course we are only on lap 2 right now, so that will settle itself out as the race continues on, as the cars get a little bit lighter, as the tires start to wear into optimal range, we're going to see these times definitely come down here at Spa. Right now, 2:19.165, so definitely a lot more time available here on the racetrack. We got JDR in the Lamborghini here in 15th position. Coming through below Chamal right there. He was a little bit wide heading. Oh, he's not coming through below Chamal right there. That was the hairpin right there. That was my mistake. We've got H. Josh here. He's just coming up through that final chicane. And it's a tough chicane. It's undulating. It has bumps in the wrong place at the wrong time. It is a difficult racetrack for sure to navigate in that chicane, especially in these mid-rear engine cars. It takes a lot of pedaling. And what that means is just tapping the throttle control just a tiny little bit as you're under braking, and that allows the car to not want to slide out. It keeps it stable underneath of the driver, and by doing that, that allows the driver to try and maintain a nice, good, proper, solid exit out of the corner, of course. So going to be a good one tonight. It is Johnny B. Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so we're just bringing up a little bit of information about Spa here. I have a little cheat sheet stashed away here. There we go. All right. Lacombe, Brussels. There we go. Right. Corner names elude me sometimes, chat. They're a little hard to keep track of from one racetrack to another here. Let's keep flipping through here. We got MX Bloxham here in 4th place. He was sitting in 2nd place, I believe. 3rd or 4th place on the grid, so he's about where he started here. Johnny B's up into 2nd place, 4 seconds ahead. Kahlua 94 to 3rd place. Drivers just 1 second up ahead of him here, and well, MX Bloxham is slowly eating away at that time, but we'll have to see if there's a battle developing there. I think the drivers are going to stay a little settled here. Really, right now, the priority is trying to make up the time on the racetrack and catch up to that next driver. Maybe that driver makes a mistake, you can apply a little pressure, maybe force a mistake and grab another position. But ultimately, these drivers are really just trying to get into where they can for the final 5-10 minute run here at Spa. Of course, with it just being slightly over a 2-minute lap, we're not going to see too many laps in 30 minutes. About 13, maybe 14 laps total out of these drivers. Kahlua 94 here in 3rd place. Bloxham starting to put some pressure on. Bloxham is within about that slipstream distance here, I believe, now, and half a second in behind the other Audi drivers. So they're on the same cars. Really comes down to the setups in their cars and the drivers behind the wheel of the cars at this point right now, in this little battle for podium between Kahlua and MX Bloxham. So Bloxham closing up a little bit of time there, as the gap staying pretty constant. It closed up about a 1/10 of a second through the chicane. And now we're heading into La Source here for the 4th time today. Let's see if Bloxham can gain any more time up on Kahlua here, but it looks like we're going to have a little battle developing here. One little mistake by one of these drivers can make all the difference right now, but Kalua's doing a pretty good job at also pacing Bloxham and allowing him to get close enough to try and make a move at the same time. So some interesting stuff starting to happen on the track here. We got Scary Guy for You in 13th position here. Blue and green Audi. He's got Marcio starting to call Law up here, and we got some damage on that race car as well. So a couple of drivers struggling early on here tonight. Rapid Duck in pit lane, still having that car worked on, so that hit into the wall there after getting collected by Fluke. It looking like it caused a little bit of disarray and some repair on that car needed, so the crew is working on that car. Of course, there is a second race here yet tonight, so going to definitely try and get that car going for race 2 and still salvage what he can for points here on the night. We've got Seal here in 8th place. And starting to put some pressure here on Riot Racing. Riot Racing obviously getting around Seal at some point here, as he was behind Seal. So a good, healthy battle here for 7th and 8th place between these two drivers. Hey, how's it going, John? Hope you're doing well, my guy. John coming in with that thumbs up on the stream here as well. Alright, so rocking and rolling around Spa. We're on our 7th and 8th place drivers here. We got GLR Racer and Yakha starting to close up back in behind here as well. And the McLaren driver also having an incident coming through Pouon, where these drivers are right now. Ended up in the infield wall there, so yeah, he's been suffering from some damage there, but it looks like he's starting to make some ground up there as well. So we're coming through campus here now. And very, very close together is this BMW and Audi drivers. So we got some good fighting here. And then now as we head into the Paul Frere curves here, It's a dangerous sector. You can get it right or you can get it very, very wrong. We see what happens when you get it very wrong. And if you get it very, very right, you really get to maximize your speed as you head around into Blochemont. This is a full send corner. Maybe at the most a little lift here. You want to get as tight to that curb as you can. And of course, use up that exit as much as you can. But you got to be careful again. That artificial turf is dangerous. So it's a risk versus reward. Oh boy, and a little bit of a misjudgment under braking there from Seal. He just gets into the back end of Riot Racing right there. And he's going to allow him to keep that position. He's going to get back on track safely there. But boy, that's going to cost Seal some time there. And potentially a little bit of damage on that race car. So just a little bit of a misjudgment under braking right there. And loses himself that battle with Riot Racing up in 7th place. And I mean, that's only for the time being. That could all change here yet. We still have 23 minutes in this first race here tonight. So Tango 2 in 16th place. We've got Cletus up into 6th place. And Cletus has just been grooving right now. He's got Tango 2 up in front, so we got a couple of cars that have made pit stops, so some blue flag cars in fact in play here as we come up on Rouge already on, heading up to Kemmel Straight. We're with 10th place driver Yakas now. And there is a big little group of cars here. So, ooh, there we go. We have one car moving a little bit slow there. Josh moving a little bit slow there. So got it a little bit wrong. Heading up into the Kemmel Straight there and losing quite a bit of momentum. So not the place you want to make a mistake there. As you definitely can cost your positions very quickly. So Yakas going to move up into 9th place. And now Josh under fire from Fluka, who looks like gets around in there as well. No, they're still side by side in behind there. Oh, we missed it. There we go, and Fluke can't quite get the position on the Audi driver for the time being there. So Josh has done a pretty good job to hold Fluke off here so far for the time being, but has not been able to navigate around. So you can see some pretty heavy damage on that Audi car as well. You can see that whole hood's a little crumpled up. You can see quite a bit of racing damage on that front spoiler as well. So at some point, is that damage going to start to affect the condition, the driving condition of Josh up ahead? Fluka gets a good run through Puon right there. Nice tight lines, and you can see the difference that made as we head into campus here now. He is right all over the back of that Audi driver, and nice little healthy battle here coming. So we're going to stick with this. We've got Racer and Yakast up ahead, still having a nice healthy battle, so side by side again. Oh, and a little wiggle right there by Fluka, and that was enough to cost him that side by side position here. So as we come through the Paul Freire curve, can Fluka get into that slipstream and make something happen, heading maybe into the chicane through Blochemont? So we got two little battles happening here for 8th and 9th and 10th and 11th. We're trying to keep our eye on both for what we can with what our cameras are catching. So, and of course, huge shout out to our production crews here today at Spa. They're giving us some great angles, and he's going to go up the outside into the chicane. If he can hang it out here, he's got inside position into the second part of the chicane, and that is the case. He's going to get it done. Nice, good, decisive move right there by the Ferrari driver, and Fluka is going to move up into 10th place and just hold off Josh there. Josh took a look, but he decided he's not close enough. He's going to settle back in and see if he can make something happen maybe up at the end of the Kemmel Straight. But again, the damage on the front end of that Audi makes me lead to believe that car is not at 100% right now, especially aerodynamically. Riot Racing here, and he's got about 10 seconds to the 5th place driver up ahead. So I think his fight right now is with that BMW, and GLR Seal still chasing, and he has started to make that time back up after that little bit of a boo-boo, and within a second again. So the BMWs are clearly showing some pace here at the racetrack this evening, without a question of a doubt. We've got Critico Basilico here in 1st place. He's been controlling the race right from the get-go. He got a great race start, got out in front very early on, and he's doing a great job at managing that gap to Johnny B, who I believe is our current championship points leader here heading into round 5. Critical fast driver. He's definitely been putting the pressure on Johnny B all season long as well. So a rivalry, definitely a good rivalry on the racetrack starting to develop between these two drivers. They're both very high caliber drivers, and when you have two very high caliber drivers battling it out like that week in and week out, it's tough for one of the drivers to get the edge on the other driver. So it's interesting to see what goes through these drivers' minds as they start battling each other out, because it's tough to get around a driver who can play defense and offense very, very well. And both these drivers more than capable of doing so with Critico and Johnny B. So it's going to be interesting to see if those two start to close up, what's going to happen there. The last time we seen that battle between Johnny B and Critico got the better end of that, and was just able to hold Johnny B off, and it was not for a lack of some great offensive driving by Johnny B. defensive driving of Critical was just on point, and it was a great battle right to the start finish line. So I think we may maybe potentially end up seeing the same thing here happening tonight. Got JDR 14th, H Josh here, and now you can see that car's really starting to struggle. The damage, the wear and tear on the front end of that car is really kind of starting to show here. He's having a hard time getting that car to rotate properly, and the tough racing here. He has got his hands full with that Audi right now. MX blocks him here. He is still right on the back end of Kahlua here. I mean, he is obviously very equally paced drivers, these two drivers are. So, again, when you have drivers such of equal skill, it's very hard for one driver to find the edge on the other driver. Let's see. Blocks are going to take a look here. I thought he was going to take a look there, but he did not as we were heading into Lacombe there. So really surprised to see him not take a move there. I thought for sure maybe that was just a psych, maybe to see if the driver was going to react to him taking a look up the inside. Maybe a little bit of mind games are starting to happen here with the drivers, but nonetheless, definitely still right there, applying that pressure to that final podium spot here in race 1. Going to keep rolling through here. We've got Johnny B. The gap is 1.3 seconds. It seems like that gap isn't really increasing or decreasing, so some great pace management here right now by our race leader. Kahlua, I mean, 8 seconds in behind. His battle really is with that Audi in behind with Bloxham right now. Scary guy for you. He's in 13th. He's got Akano just 1.3 seconds up ahead of him here too as well, so we may see a battle here in the back part of the pack. Again, Rapid still has that car being worked on here, trying to get that thing ready for race 2, it looks like. We got GLR Racer in 9th place, and he's under pressure here from 10th place driver Fluka now. So Fluka is starting to make some traction here. He's starting to get some time made up on the racetrack. So, oh boy, big spin. Is he gonna hold on to it? Oh wow, look at that. He stops inches from the wall right there, entering Puhan, and just saves that car from some damage on the front end, which is going to be good. He can get back on the track, scrub that dirt off those tires, and continue at least with a good functioning race car. Very close right there, but great job by Racer to get the car to stop before hitting that wall. And boy, that was inches. It was inches, chat. Seal is in 7th place, going a little bit wide right there, and that's going to cost him a little bit of time on the McLaren. May give him a little bit of a track limit warning by race control here as well as we're heading into Blochemont. And that Paul Frere curve is so hard to get just right. And now as we come through Blochemont, same thing. And boy, oh boy, look at these drivers battling. Seal taking a little extra racetrack right there to manage that corner, but that McLaren's putting all kinds of pressure here as Yakas is looking for a way around our number 555 driver here. And this is a healthy battle for 7th, 8th place. And Riot Racing is not out of this yet either. He is right up ahead there of these drivers in 6th place. So side by side, looking up the inside is, of course, Yakas, and he's going to try and get it done on Seal into the source here, and this is a good passing corner, so we definitely have seen lots of attempted moves here into the source. Lots of room to make passes. You can do it on the inside or outside. It all depends on the situation at hand in front of you, but it is Yakas now going to move up into 7th position. Seal's going to settle back in behind, and Fluka now, of course, grabbing that position with a little bit of a mistake made by GLR Racer up there, now trying to track those two drivers down up ahead of him. Cletus is in 5th place, 10 seconds down the road from Blocks. I mean, he hasn't really lost any time on that battle for 3rd place there, but he hasn't gained it either. So again, just doing a great job at managing the gap to the podium right now is Cletus. If something drastic were to happen, a battle were to ensue, and a driver were to get in a little bit of trouble, half spin, he is in a position to maybe grab that position up there as well if something were to happen in those front drivers up ahead. So not giving up, just not able to quite reel those guys in as of yet. That could change. We still have half a race left here with 15 minutes remaining. Yakas has been very actively battling all race long, definitely earning his position on the racetrack here tonight. Is currently sitting in 7th place and starting to reel in that Ferrari up in front. Seal a little bit losing the pace of these two cars up in front right now, but Fluka starting to try and track down as well in 9th place. So Fluka is right now the car kind of charging his way through the grid here currently. We've got Arcano Marcio now up into 12th place. This driver was in 17th at one point in time, so up 5 positions the last time we were talking about our Porsche, our yellow, blue, and white Porsche here. And this driver is a very consistent driver, and he just sticks to his race strategy, and typically he's been finishing in top 10 all season long because of it, so not that far off that top 10 here again in race 1. Tenacious Evil here in 15th place. It's a beautiful car, by the way, that pink, blue, and cream colored Mercedes here at 15th place. And he's got JDR tracking him down. JDR is, of course, a position ahead, so that won't be a battle for position. That will be a blue flag situation. We got Fluka here. We talked about this driver. This driver has been making their way up through the field, so they started fairly high up the field, fell down to the mid-pack, fell down to the back of the pack, back up into the mid-pack, and tracking Seal down 4.4, 4.2, 4.1. So the Ferrari definitely has some pace as we head into the chicane here and head up into the start-finish line to start lap 9. So driver number 18 here is starting to make up some distance on Seal up in front. Let's see what it's at as we come out of the chicane, and that time difference is 4 seconds. So Fluka is definitely 2/10 a corner here right now on that driver up in front. Get back into this mid-pack here. There's been some great battling happening here, especially in this little group of drivers right here with Riot Racing, Yakcast, and Seal. They've been having some pretty good battles all race long here and there throughout the race, and we're starting to see one develop here again. It is McLaren versus Ferrari right here right now, and that McLaren is all up in the business of that Ferrari. So going defensive coming into Lacombs here, but if the McLaren can hang it out on the outside coming into Lacombe here, it's going to give him position on the inside of the second part of Lacombe. That's not the case. It's some great driving right there by Riot Racing, placing that Ferrari in all the right places, and the McLaren just has to settle in and wait for another opportunity. So let's see what happens here as we come into Brussels. And again, going defensive, he's just going to park that Ferrari on the curb, not really give that McLaren anywhere to go. And by doing this, though, this is going to start bringing GLR Seal back into this battle here. So that's going to allow that BMW to start gaining ground on these two drivers here. And you can see this has very quickly become a three-way battle. Again, a little bit of a mistake made right there, actually, by Yakcast in behind. And now this has become a battle between Yakcast and Seal again. Let's see if we can get there quickly here. What do we got there? Johnny B looks like he's getting a little bit close to the leader there. Where? Come on. There we go. All right, so car number 555, and he's, again, very active battle here today. On race 1 here at Spa at E3, been battling hard all race long, but now Fluka is starting to close up here. I mean, Fluka is 2.6 seconds. That was almost 5 seconds just a lap ago, so Fluka's knocked half that time gap off of these drivers in 1 lap's time. And oh boy, Seal gets it wrong in the ball for a curb there again, and you can see he knows what happens if he tries to cut in across that artificial curbing. He knows that's going to be a traction brake moment, so smart recognition right there by GLR Seal to just take it around, come back in where it's safe, and Fluka is just going to continue to close up time on that driver there. So it'd be interesting to see what race control has to say about that, but there was definitely no time gain there. Let's go back where we were there. Cletus in 5th place. Blocks with 12.5 seconds up the road, so losing a little bit of pace now on the front 4 drivers here with Cletus, but I mean, he has 17 seconds to the next positional driver, so right now 5th place points is looking pretty tasty to Cletus here. Yakcast again in 7th place, actively battling here. He's back up in the Ferrari. GLR Seal is back off a little bit. He is now kind of more concerned about what's happening in behind with that purple and blue Ferrari chasing a Fluka. You can see Fluka's closing the gap. It's within 1.1 seconds there now between those two drivers, so some healthy battling in the mid-pack. The mid-pack always seems to have the best battles as well. Let's stick with it. We're just going to let the camera crew take us around here with our McLaren and Ferrari driver, and we'll keep an eye on what's happening in behind with Seal and Fluka here as well. But coming back into Lacombs, much of the same story. Again, Riot Racing just doing a great job at really just parking that car everywhere it needs to be right now. If Yakcast wants to get around, he's making him do it the long way around on the outside of the corners, and that's just smart defensive driving from a race car driver right there in Riot Racing. So we're going to keep our eye on this. This is definitely an active battle. I feel like it's just a matter of one driver trying to pressure another driver into making a mistake, and maybe that's what we're seeing right now. But we have 10 minutes left, so the pressure is going to start really getting applied here pretty soon as the race progresses. That's going to put us within about 4 laps, 5 laps, including the remainder of this lap that we're on right now for these guys. And Fluka and Seal just closing up in behind here. Let's keep looking through our field here. Let's see what we got going on. Tenacious, he's about 2.7 seconds off the Lamborghini driver in front, so there might be a position grab there for him if he can close in. Fluka, he's in slipstream range at this point now with GLR Seal, so I think we're going to see a battle developing out of this within the next lap. So let's sit here for a few corners and see if Fluka can make something happen on GLR Seal here. as we come out of the Paul Frere curve. We're almost side by side heading into Blochemont, and this is tough for you as a race car driver. You got to decide here. Outside is going to be Fluke, is going to be inside Seal. Fluke gets the job done on the outside. That was a great move right there by the Ferrari driver, and it is now 8th place and 4.2 seconds down the road from McLaren driver. So Fluke gets it done. That was quick, efficient, decisive, and a difficult move on the outside of Blochemont right there. So GG's to our number 18 pro driver in that Ferrari. That was a great move right there. And great respect, of course, given to Seal as well to hold his line there, and that was just great racing right there. That's what we're talking about here at the Infinite Racing League. That is some great driving by those two drivers right there. Let's get back to Riot Racing and Yadcast here now. We've seen that. I mean, Fluka is charging. He's got 8.5 minutes remaining. We got a yellow flag up ahead of these drivers here, somewhere on the racetrack as well. We do not see it on the radar yet. Our race leader's gone around there. I'm keeping my eye on the track radar. It might be a back marker that is potentially causing the yellow flag, but it is still up there. All right, Riot Racing in 6th place. He's trying to hold off Yadcast. Yadcast is in the slipstream. He is right there. He's car lengths away. He hasn't really released any pressure here in the last couple laps on the Ferrari driver. Johnny B now in the race lead here. Boy, didn't see that coming, and haven't really noticed that there was a positional change there, but Johnny B has gotten the job done on Critico, and Critico now finding himself chasing Johnny B with 7 minutes, just under 8 minutes remaining here. So Critico now finding himself trying to get the lead back from Johnny B, and Johnny B going, hey, I got this lead, I'm out, I am out, but we'll see if Critico's going to let that happen. GDR in 14th position here, and coming up on Scary Guy for you too, so 1 second in behind our 13th place driver. So we got little mini battles brewing all over the racetrack here in the last 7 minutes 20 seconds of this race. H. Josh in 11th position, and he has got a Porsche all over him here. So again, the damage on that Audi has definitely got to be costing him pace and time around this racetrack here, and the Porsche driver is now caught up to him. So let's see if Marcio can navigate around the 88 Audi driver here. I mean, you can clearly see the visible damage on that race car, so we all know that that car is definitely not 100% going around the racetrack right now, and we don't know what that driver's dealing with. So we'll have to see if the Porsche driver can navigate around, but the Porsche also has some signs and evidence of damage on it as well, and may not also be 100% in behind that driver. So it's going to be interesting to see how these two sort this out here. Bloxham and Kahlua here. There we go. Bloxham is you know, this gap has been 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.6, 0.7, 0.5, 0.6, 0.7, 0.5. Pretty much all race long, so super equally close pace drivers are these two. And Bloxham has some pretty good damage on the front end of that Audi there now, so I'm not sure where that's come from, but he's still right there and trying to grab a P3 position. Johnny B, he's got... Oh, what has happened to Critico? Oh, wow, Critico's down into 4th place here. Okay, Johnny B is got a nice comfy 14-second lead here. Clue is now in 2nd place. Bloxham's now in 3rd place, and Critico has dropped down into P4 here near the end of the race. So lots of things happening right there that we're unaware of, and we're just trying to see what's going on here. We got Cletus in 5th place. He's only 5 seconds in behind Critico right now. So something cost Critico about 20 seconds time here on the racetrack, and Cletus with 5.5 minutes remaining may have a shot at grabbing a position here potentially if there's damage on Critico's race car. Yadcast here in 6th place. He is getting away from GLR Seal. Fluka has gotten around Seal. Oh, and we got Arcano slow moving on the side of the racetrack. He's actually facing the wrong direction of the racetrack here, so not sure what happened there, but boy oh boy, tire wear, fatigue, and some mistakes really kind of costing these drivers here right now in the end of this race, and that's unfortunate to see. Not sure what happened there, but that's not the way the drivers are racing on the racetrack, folks, that's for sure. Alright, Riot Racing's in 9th place here, so Riot Racing, not sure what's happened to him, but he's dropped some positions. We got Critico here in 4th place, so let's see if we can determine what's happened with this driver. It definitely has some front end damage on that Honda. You can see the hood is lifted a little bit and flapping in the wind as he's coming around to the source here. He does have fastest lap on track currently with a 218.5, but definitely has a damaged race car, and Cletus is reeling them in, man. 3.2 seconds from 5 seconds just last time around. So Cletus may or may not have the time to make something happen there. JDR in 12th place, and H. Josh now, he's got his car in pit lane, and the damage just proving that it was too much for that car, and they just couldn't quite get that thing all the way around through the time lot here, which is unfortunate. And good credit to him. He was definitely fighting a hurt race car there. Johnny B is our race leader, and Johnny B is 15 seconds up the road, so I mean it is going to take something pretty drastic at this point for him. Kahlua 94 is in second place. He still has MX blocks him all up in his business. We got Scary Guy for You and JDR here. These guys are very close together. Audi versus Lamborghini here as well, and so far Scary Guy for You doing a good job at holding down that 11th place position. Where else we at here? We got GLR Racer kind of in no man's land. GLR Seal, he has Riot Racer 6.7 seconds behind. He's got Fluke at 2.8 seconds ahead. Really not seeing a whole lot happening here at this point. Everybody seems to have all of a sudden just separated. Arcano now in pit lane. Tenacious in pit lane. Fluka, let's sit on board with Fluka for a minute here. I mean, this driver's been absolutely cruising up the field. And now the target is Yakast up ahead. And that is a 3-second target with 3 minutes remaining. He needs to basically take a minute down per lap here to have maybe a potential shot at getting something done on the Yakast there. But Fluka has been the quick mover, or the furthest mover, I believe, in the grid here today for race 1. All right, we got Riot Racing in 9th. We've got Critico here in 4th, and then unfortunate whatever's happened to him. But you can see Cletus now really making the charge here with 2.5 minutes remaining. Cletus has that gap down to slipstream range at this point. So whatever happened to Critico there has definitely hurt the pace in that race car. And you can see he got really wide coming through Blochemont right there. So that car definitely hurt, and he's just trying to get that thing to take the checkered flag at this point and salvage as many points as he can. If he can hold off the BMW here, that'd be fantastic, but I think it's going to be a tall order as that BMW doesn't have a scratch on it, so that car ideally should be in 100% running order at this point. We're heading out of Losaurus. That BMW is right on top of Critico here, so this should be final lap for the majority of our drivers. It depends where the leaders cross the line. We might see one more lap here. We're trying to get to the leaders here. We got Bloxham and Kahlua here in 2nd and 3rd place as well. Bloxham just has not had an answer for Kahlua up in front here so far tonight. Johnny B was patient. It's paid off. He's got a nice healthy lead. We're just trying to find a battle here for the end of the race for everybody. So I think we're going to have to go back to this right here. Our 5th to 4th place battle is coming into Lacombe's here. It's going to be Cletus getting ahead of Basilico there. And Critico has a nice cushion from 6th place driver Yakast with only a minute and a half remaining. Definitely not able to hold down 4th place there from the BMW driver Cletus, but still going to look like he's going to take 5th place points home at bare minimum, at bare worst here tonight. By the time he comes around the racetrack, I think it's going to be final lap here. I think. There he is. There's our race leader. All right, on board with Johnny B here. So there's about 50 seconds remaining on the clock. That is going to be enough time for him to get through Blochemont here and get through the chicane and back across the line. So I think we'll probably have one more lap to go when Johnny B crosses the start-finish line here. And we're heading into the chicane right now. Nice tight lines there. You can see him really hugging those sausages on the curbing too. I mean, you really need to do that in order to maximize that chicane, keep some momentum through it. So here we go, final lap of the race here as Johnny B comes around one more time here. So 16 laps here on our racetrack tonight. We got Kahlua here still holding down 2nd place. Bloxham still trying to apply the pressure to get the position here, but great job done by Kahlua here not to allow Bloxham to get close enough to even make something happen there. Scary Guy for You too here in 12th position. We've got Rapid Duck in 17th. We've got GLR Racer in 10th. We've got Seal in 8th. Tango 2 here in 14th. Cletus now up into 4th place, so benefacting from the mistake made by Critico. Yakast here, he is still quite a ways from Critico here at this point. I don't think he's going to grab that position. He has definitely shed some time down, I think 4 seconds, but on the last lap of the race, there's not going to be enough time for him to catch him. So not seeing any immediate battles on the racetrack here. Yakast still 3 seconds ahead of Fluka here. Fluke has got 4 seconds on Seal, so no immediate battling happening there. We've got Riot Racing in 9th. Critico is just coming up into the Camel Straight here for the final time for himself tonight as well. JDR in 11th place with that Lamborghini. H. Josh again getting some work done on that racing car. He definitely had a heavily damaged car there. But back to the race leader here. So it is Johnny B who's going to take race 1 down by the looks of it here. And clean that car up. They'll get that set up retuned. They'll get some different tires on that car, I would assume. And we'll have another qualifying session, and we'll have a second race here today. So it's not all over yet. That's only 1 of 2 here this evening. Piece of paper. There we go. So, coming around the chicane the final time, here is Johnny B, and that is going to be a race 1 victory for Johnny B. So, congratulations to Johnny B. Patience was a virtue right there for him today. And we're just going to go do things this way because it's just quicker that way. We got Kahlua and Bloxham battling it out right now here for P2 and P3. It did get closer. Bloxham was right on the bumper coming out of the chicane, but it is going to be Kahlua in 3rd place. It'll be, sorry, 2nd place. Bloxham in 3rd place here. It'll be Cletus coming around for the final time here, taking a 4th place here today in race 1. So great job to Cletus. Alright, he's jumped back. Critical Basilico is going to come through in 5th place and fastest lap on the racetrack. Now, of course, that could change yet if one of these drivers steals it here on the last lap, but it's hard to say. We'll have to wait to see. But Yakat's going to come across here. Fluke really starting to close in on him there, but he is going to take a 6th place finish for himself. Fluke is going to come around in 7th place. GLR Seal is going to come around in 8th place, and those 3 drivers are getting relatively close to each other there. Maybe 1 or 2 more laps. We could have seen some battling in the end of race 1 between those 3 there, but that was definitely some healthy battling throughout the first part of the race. Riot Racing, he's going to come through, bring home a 9th place finish for himself here today. GLR Racer, he's going to bring it home in 10th place. So top 10 drivers here as this BMW is just heading out of Blochemont into the chicane right now. We have Tango 2 finished up in 13th position there already, as you see the checkered flag on his name as well. So he might have crossed the finish line a lap down. GLR Racer is going to come around and bring, again, 10th place points home for himself here in race 1. JDR is going to come around. It's going to be an 11th place finish for the Lamborghini driver here today as he's coming through Blochemont right now. Great line right there through Blochemont. Hooked that corner up just right, just nice and tight, and he gets a great run up into the chicane here. And scary guy for you, just not able to hold JDR off here at the end of the race, and it's going to be JDR coming around here in 11th position for race 1. Scary guy in 12th place. Tango 2 in 13th. It'll be H Josh in 14th. Arcano Marcio in 15th. Tenacious in 16th. And Rapid Duck here in 17th position. So that is just 1 of 2 here tonight, folks. That's for sure. That was not quite as tight as I thought we would see here tonight. There was still some great battling, though, in that first race, especially from our first and second place and third, fourth place drivers, also from our 4th, 5th, 6th, and 7th place drivers, our 8th and 9th, 10th place driver. We had lots of little mini battles happening all throughout the track in this first race. It was pretty fantastic to see, and the guys never disappoint, that's for sure. Who are we on here? Scary guy. He's going to come around and finish his lap, so there we go. All right. Alright, so now, once the checkered flag hits the remaining 5 drivers that have yet to have the flag there, you see it's still green beside their name. Once those all turn to checkered flags, we head into qualifying 2. So now, the teams and drivers are getting that second setup into the race car. Obviously, the track conditions have changed now over the last hour. The drivers need to tune their cars and adjust their cars according to, of course, the track conditions. So that's what's going to happen now. They're going to go into pit lane. They're going to check tire temperatures, going to do their deal when the cars come in. That also gives them very important information about tire wear, how the tires are acting, how they're pressuring up around the racetrack in those particular conditions on that day. It tells them a lot of information as well, and all that information gets banked and it's stored for the next season, the next season, and the next season. They continue to use all that information that they're getting, and eventually, you know, to build their tunes heading into race seasons. So less and less work goes into the tune and more work goes into the times around the track. So it's quite an interesting little endeavor that goes on here. But the crews are doing their thing here now, behind the scenes, you know, checking tire temperatures. They're looking at the computers. They're looking at how much fuel is left in the car. They're looking at the wear on the tires. Some of these cars are damaged, so the crews are going to be working on getting the damage fixed on these cars to get them ready for second qualifying. Lots of things happening in pit lane here right now for our drivers, so should be interesting to see what happens here in race 2 tonight. Alright, I'm not sure what the time lapse is, but I hope everybody has enjoyed race 1 here today. What we're actually going to do, we're going to flip you over to the other screen. We're going to let you guys rock out on the great intro video provided by IRL here, and then we'll come back to the racing action here and get ready to set up for race 2. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. So, As I suspected, qualifying is now underway. We're about 2 minutes into the second qualifying session, so we're just getting to the point where the driver's laps are now going to be counting when they come around the start-finish line. All right, so sprint race one. Sprint race one, when there's a dual race setup on the weekend, the first sprint race is typically the chill one. It's the one where everybody's kind of feeling everybody out. They're feeling the car out. They're feeling the setups out. Hey, we are fairly low. Are you able to pump up the master volume a bit? Gotcha. Hey, how's it going, stream host? That's about as much as I got left in it without changing the filters, my guy. Let me know how it is. Appreciate that heads up. Haven't been able to watch much tonight, but listening in the background. I love you. Appreciate you, stream host. Let's get it. All right, let's go take a look around here. We're just gonna peek around. All right. So, race 2, chat. I mean, qualifying underway. Again, another 10-minute qualifying. Volume is perfect through my end. Appreciate you guys. Always love the feedback. Brandon coming in with the like and the share on the stream. Stream host coming in with the hearts on the stream as well. All right, so Bloxham had a great battle. Ends up in 3rd place last race due to a late crash by our 2nd place driver, Critical Basilico. Still managing to pull out a 5th place position for himself. But as I was saying just a second ago, this first sprint race is typically a more calm, chill one. The drivers are still kind of feeling each other out. They're seeing each other's pace, where they're weak, where they're strong. They don't want to obviously wreck the race car coming in with a dual race weekend coming. They want to have the car still left for race 2. So once they have that all sorted out, then it's go time. So now race 2 is upon us. The drivers have earned their points from race 1. Now it's all or nothing. And now the car, this car just needs to survive this race. So we're going to see, I think, a little extra push, and I think we're going to see a little extra drive out of our racers here in Sprint 2. Sprint 2 typically tends to be the more fast-paced one because the car survived race 1. And let's put it all on the line here for race 2 now. So I think we're going to see some pretty good tight racing here in the second sprint race. Bloxham currently sitting in pole position, 2:18.687, pretty good lap. Let's see what Johnny B has as he's coming around here. This is his first record lap here, or recordable lap, pardon me, and he's going to come through with a 2:18.69 too. Literally about 100th of a second off of first place driver Bloxham currently. We got Kahlua here in 11th right now. Rapid Duck is at 5th. And unfortunate race 1 for this driver, but it looks like the crew did a great job of getting that BMW fixed up and getting it back on track for race 2. So I got collected up from another car going off in the Paul Frere curve. It went really hard into the wall, and great job getting that BMW back together and getting that thing back out on track here for our second race today. We got, it looks like Riot Racing just pulling out of the way of the drivers, made a mistake or something, and he's just making sure he stays out of the way of the drivers that are on an official lap. He doesn't want to interfere with that lap. Racer's on an invalid lap with the red lap time there, much the same as Seal. Tango 2. There we go. Cletus is on a good lap here. He's on a valid lap right now. So we're going to stick with it here. And where are we? On the racetrack. We are in campus right now. So the third set of S's. Third set of S's here on the track. There's a lot of S's on Spa, the more I think about it, chat. So heading into the Paul Frere curb, a dangerous sector. We've seen lots of drivers make the big mistake right here, and that's heading out into that dark green artificial curbing. We've seen what that can do, and of course Ferrari driver Fluke getting caught out there early on in the race and collecting Rapid Duck, just getting caught out in that greasy artificial curbing here. So it is much slipperier than the road surface. It doesn't retain heat the same way the asphalt does in those very tired, hot racing slicks. It's like driving on ice when you get them spinning on that artificial curbing. And well, spinning tires in race cars at high RPM typically mean bad things are going to happen, and we've seen a couple cases of that here so far tonight. So the drivers are definitely aware of that. They've seen it. Some of them have suffered it. Now it's going to be interesting to see where we all settle in the end. So third place here for Cletus that time around. That was a great lap from Cletus. Choco is in the house, the birthday boy, on track here for race 2. So it must have been something wrong with that car. He couldn't get it on track for race 1, but he is here and ready to run here in race 2. So love to see it. Mr. Birthday Boy on the track here for race 2. Yakast, he had a great battle all race long. Last race, race 1, he was there right in the 6th, 5th, 6th, 7th positions, battling it out all race long. Very, very good, hard fought race for him in race 1. See what race 2 has in store for this driver, currently sitting in 6th place. We got Arcano Marcio, had a rough race start. It put him in the back of the pack, and he just didn't quite seem to recover as well maybe as he had hoped. Still coming close to that top 10 finish though at the end of the race, so it was a great job by him, but he got that Porsche all locked in and looking nice and clean and crisp and in functioning condition again. Fluke as well, he had an incident at some point in the track. He had to come all the way from the back of the pack, coming all the way up into a P7 finish in the race 1. Definitely has the pace, definitely looking good, and just coming across the line there, jumping up into 4th place here in qualifying with 1 lap left for these drivers to try and maximize the best time they can around the racetrack. We got Riot Racing here in 15th, Critico here in 11th, and I just don't think he's put in the best lap yet, or a valid lap yet. I think that's what we're seeing right there from Critico. JDR here in 9th place. Again, tracks and track limits are always very tight here. Race control, as we've seen throughout the season, calls it right down where it needs to be called. We've seen lots of penalties be handed out for track limit infractions here throughout the series. We didn't see any in race 1, which was fantastic. But who's not to say we're not going to see him here in race 2. The drivers are going to be pushing a lot harder this time around. So we're just going to stay with Bloxham here as he comes around, since he does improve it to 2:18.490. So pole time just getting stretched a little bit there. Johnny B's almost half a tenth up on his time, and if he stays in that delta, that will be good enough for pole position. So we're going to sit with 2nd place driver Johnny B here as he comes through campus right now, and getting ready to set up through Stave Lot into the Paul Frere curve here. So as we come around this corner here, coming into Stave Lot right now, and then we set up for the Paul Frere curve. Sometimes you lift, it depends on the angle into the corner, and you really got to be careful on how you judge that exit. You don't want to go too deep there. It's very marbly out there. There's lots of rubber out there, lots of dirt, lots of dust, lots of things that can make the tire a little greasy and slippery as well. So you just don't want to end up out there. As we come through Blochemont, he is still half a second up. This could be a new pole time as Johnny B comes around the finish line here, so we're going to stick with him, and he is up even more now, almost 3/4 of a second here as we come around the final chicane, and we're going to see a new pole sitter as he comes across start finish line here. It's going to be Johnny B with a 2:18.080, so great race lap right there by Johnny B. Kahlua here in 13th, so he hasn't had the best of qualifying. Let's sit on with him. He's got an invalid lap here, so not ideal for that driver. Rapid Duck currently sitting in 3rd place here in the BMW, and again, great job to the BMW team to get this thing back up in order, and invalid lap, so 3rd place still, nothing to be ashamed about there. Racers in 11th, Seal still on a lap. It's a valid lap as well as we head into campus, so we'll leave the camera crew follow 555 driver around here in that BMW and see what he can put down. He's up just a tiny little bit on his personal best right now, which is a 2:21. See if he can find a little more time here through the final sectors of the Paul Frere and Blochemont chicane, and see if he can find another spot on the grid here. We're getting close to 1/10 of a second right there. Oof, he caught just the inside curbing a little bit there and Blochemont on him. Just that little slide that curbing caused there just ate away that little bit of delta he had there in his favor, but he got a good entry into the chicane and an even better exit, so he is going to find some more time here as he comes across start finish line, and it's good enough for a 9th place right there, so he does grab one final position right under the wire here in qualifying as well for race 2. So it is going to be Critico Basilico with a 2:18.062 in pole position, with Johnny B in 2nd, MX Bloxham in 3rd, Rapid Duck in 4th, Fluka in 5th, Cletus in 6th, Tango 2 in 7th, Yakast in 8th, Seal in 9th, Arcano in 10th, JDR in 11th, Racer in 12th, H Josh in 13th, Tenacious in 14th, Kahlua in 15th, Scary Guy in 16th, and Riot Racer here in 17th position. And we'll sit on board with our McLaren driver once our race starts here. So race 2 should be about 4 to 5 minutes here underway. They'll line the cars up on the grid. We'll see those cars get some final checkups by their crews, do some final temperature readings on the tires, add, remove, whatever they need to do, and just make sure that, of course, there's no anything flapping, hanging, moving that shouldn't be at race start. So the drivers are hopefully, and the cars are 100% optimal go condition at the race start. So what we've seen in the first sprint race was them come around from the original start finish line to the second start finish line, which is a 24-hour layout here at Spa, and that is where the race will start from, in between La Source and Eau Rouge. From there, the races will take off, and it's race time again. We'll see them go 2 by 2 up through Eau Rouge and La Radion into the Kimmel Straight and into Le Combes for the first time, and we'll see if everybody can make it through neat and tidy here on the first lap. Now again, I think the drivers are going to be a little more willing to battle for positions early on in sprint race 2, and that's just due to the simple fact that race 1's over, they survived, the cars are here, let's send it and let's try to win this thing here in race 2. Every driver is going to want to maximize every point that they can in race 2. All right, so we are just waiting here. Of course, checkered flags got to come up across all the drivers before we're going to see race control start to line up the grid, and that will be whenever it is that the timer runs out. Of course, race control has all that handled from behind the scenes. Again, race control does have constant communication with the race teams via a private radio frequency. It is done this way on every single racetrack that we head to. This is just a general procedure in racing. That gives race control to make sure they have the avenue to get ahead any information that needs to be relayed to the teams immediately, and the teams then of course respond back that they understand. Sometimes it's a warning, sometimes it's a appeal on maybe an ongoing decision by race control due to an incident that happened previously. Sometimes it's race control coming down and handing out a penalty to the team, and then the team of course gets on the team radio with their drivers and relays that message to the driver, and then of course the driver follows the instructions of the team and we continue on. So when all things do work fluently and flow, it makes for a great day of racing. And I gotta tell you, the crew here at Spa has done a great job here so far tonight. The race control has been pretty lenient, it looks like, on the track limit penalties in race 1. They just let the drivers drive, so hopefully we see much of the same thing here in race 2. And well, let's get ready for another great race here. Looks like he's another 35-minute race, so it's going to be a race 2 of 35 minutes here as well. Now you can see it's starting to get shadowy. So like I said earlier in the broadcast, we're going to see, of course, racing conditions starting in late afternoon, early evening, where the sun is still out. It's daylight conditions. Of course, the time given in between the races to, of course, get the track officials and crews out on track. They do a rolling inspection of the racetrack in between races, try to remove any debris, make sure all safety protocols, walls, tire barriers, all those things are still in place and proper. They check sausage curbing, make sure everything's secured and fastened down, and just make sure, of course, that the track is in racing condition for when the drivers come back out to compete in the next racing event. It's a very fine-tuned, well-oiled machine at a racetrack over a weekend of racing. They do several classes, different races, and a lot of different cars on and off the racetrack throughout a racing day here. So a lot of work goes into the competitions here and behind the scenes, not only in the racetracks, but also, of course, from the racing teams and everybody else involved there. So that's why we see a little bit of a break in between the races. Of course, racing officials here only want nothing but the safety for the drivers and their crews and their families at home. So that is why we do see these lengthy breaks in between. They want to make sure that that racetrack is 100% ready to go. So we're a minute 15 away from race start here, which is fantastic. We're going to start on board with our 8th place driver, Yakast, in the McLaren here for race 2, just on the race start. And then, of course, we'll let the production crew take over and find us some juicy stuff on the racetrack to talk about and watch. Family-friendly broadcast as always, ladies and gentlemen, and of course appreciate everybody's support here at GT45 Gaming. Again, this is presented by the Infinite Racing League IRL, and they are partnered with Coach Dave Academy. This is the GT3 Summer Series. It is a PlayStation 5 console event on Assetto Corsa Competizione platform. Welcome in. We hope you enjoy it. And we have some GT3 racing here for everybody. Race 2 here at Spa tonight. 2 sets of points for the drivers, 2 races. Makes up for an interesting standing shakeup mid-season. Alright, we are rock and rolling. We're about 12 seconds away, and we're going to see the drivers leave the line. They're going to stay in formation. They're going to come around turn 1, La Source. They're going to head about halfway up that straightaway that we see out of turn 1, heading into, of course, Rouge and La Rédion. And then from there, it is go time. That green flag will drop as long as race control is happy that everybody's in position and where they belong. And we do it again. So here we go. The sun's starting to go down, which means the track is going to cool down, which means that affects the way that the cars are set up and going to handle around the racetrack. It could also affect lap times around the racetrack, and it could also affect the weather that comes in as that sun goes down here this evening. So to finish it off here at Spa for round 5 of the GT3 Summer Series, it will be a evening race here tonight at Circuit de Spa. And we're now heading up to that point where we're going to drop the green flags here, 2 by 2, as the drivers come through in the position they qualified here in our second qualifying run. And we are green, 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 green. Kick them tires, light them fires. We're going racing. And up La Rouge and Rédion for the first time. We're 2 by 2. Everybody looks like they're in sorts pretty good here. A little bit of a slip in the back there I've seen, but right now we got no yellow flags on the track, so everybody has made it through neat and tidy. So we are coming into Lacombes for the first time, and Lacombe is always a tough spot with so many cars coming down, and these guys are at speed coming into the corner. So dirty air braking, a little bit of contact there between JDR and Kahlua, and oh boy, that's going to be a position or 2 lost there for Kahlua. Scary guy's going to come through there. MX blocks him at 4, Johnny B. So a little bit of an incident into Lacombe on lap 1 there. Kahlua is going to settle back in here, and he is going to continue on. It looked like it was a pretty good hit to the direct side of the car, so may get lucky and not even affect the drivability of that car. So could have got fortunate there. Racer in 10th place. We got Seal in 9th. Of course, lots happening here. Again, it said it was going to be spicy in sprint race 2, and I think we're going to see some spicy. We got Tango 2 in the Acast here in 7th and 8th place. Ooh, a little bit wide there as he comes through and out of campus. Now we're heading heading into campus. Pardon me, just coming up poo on there. I was a little confused where we're at. I get a little confused sometimes. Alright, Choco here in 12th place. I said he was a spectator, so he is on the track here. Alright, get some misinformation from our race control tower there. They didn't quite have all the proper information. We do have Choco on track, so we love to see it. Marcio here in 11th place. Choco sitting there right behind in 12th. We got Fluka in behind Cletus here, sitting in 6th place. Cletus had a great race last race. Stayed consistent, stuck to his plan, brings home a nice P4, sitting in P5 currently. Adam coming in with the thumbs up on stream. Appreciate that thumbs up on stream, my guy. Hope you're doing well. It is Riot Racing here in 13th place. He is all over the BMW of Choco here right now, coming into the chicane for the first time here on race 2. So you can see quickly the sun's going down here. Of course, the chicane was in the sun when we started this race, and already it is under the shadows of the clouds with the sun going down behind the mountains here. And that is going to change the track quickly here. As the track cools down, it's going to be a lot harder for the drivers to maintain those tire temperatures, so hopefully the drivers have accounted for that in their setups. We'll find out. Scary guy in 16th. It is Critical in the lead here, though. We've seen this last race. Critical started in the lead. He had a great pace. He had managed 2/3 of the race. For the first 20 minutes of the race, he was in command, in control, maintaining a beautiful little gap. And it all fell apart for him. He ended up in a 5th place finish. So let's see if he can capitalize on a nice healthy race lead here. This time around is 2 seconds on Johnny B right now. 1.3, sorry, on Johnny B right now. So these two, no strangers. Rapid Duck right there too, blocks them in behind. Rapid Duck there, so 4 very, very fast, high caliber drivers sitting in the lead of this race. That leaves Cletus chasing right there in 5th place, and he's no slouch himself either in that BMW, and he showed that last time around. We've got Kahlua here in 15th, and of course he was victim of a little bit of contact into Lacombe there, so he is starting to make his way back through the field. He's gotten around Scary Guy, now trying to track down GDR, who was the other driver involved in that little scuffle there, entering Lacombe for the first time. We got Rapid Duck here in 3rd place. Boy, Rapid Duck had a pretty great race start last time around. He had great pace coming through the Paul Frere curve in behind the Italian car Fluka, and unfortunately for Fluka, just making a mistake in a Paul Frere curve, hit that curbing, spun that car a little bit, just re-entered the racetrack, and just clipped that left rear quarter panel of Rapid Duck there. And unfortunately collecting him up, the Rapid Duck taking some heavy hit into the wall there, but they got that car back out on track here for race 2, and right now sitting in 3rd place, fighting with MX Bloxham for that final podium position. So great job to that team and crew over the duration of that first race to get this car back in racing condition. We've got GLR Racer in 10th place, and he is doing pretty good here as well. He's finished in 10th place in the first race, and he's sitting in 10th place right behind his teammate there in 9th place ahead. Marcio in that Porsche just in behind. And speaking of his teammate, GLR Seal in the 555 BMW here coming around the chicane, and we got a nice tight knit pack here, about 8 cars. Basically just separated by a car length apart from each other each way through the racetrack. So nice, good, clean, tight racing here right now, and I expected to see a lot more pressure early on in the second sprint race. Ooh, a little bit of contact or a little mistake. There's Tango 2 got a little bit awkward there. He's going to lose that position to Seal there. I disbelieve he lost the back end of that car, but it was very, very close there to having contact between the two. But he's back on the road and only losing to 1 position there. So great job there to keep that car on the wall. He keeps in this race here, but boy, scary moment right there for Tango 2 and GLR Seal. Alright, let's keep going here. Let's get a little further back. This is the man himself who just made a little bit of a mistake coming through the source there. As we head up to Kemmel Straight, you're going to see Racer take a look. Nope, Racer's going to tuck it back in here as we head into Lacombe. Didn't have enough time, felt he wasn't close enough to try and make the move there, or just trying to get some clean air to get some bite in that race car. As we head in, ooh, nice wide exit right there. It's dangerous right there into Brussels, and everybody's just maybe hoping that the driver in front's going to make a mistake. Apply a little pressure, try not to make a mistake yourself, and just work your way through the field here. Some very patient driving very early on in the second sprint race here today, and a great exit right there by Tango 2 actually as he heads out of the corner there. Now we head into Pouan, so we got 5 cars pretty much in a row here. Any one of these cars makes a big mistake in Pouan, it can collect a whole bunch of that cars, and just as we say that, Tango 2 makes a mistake, Racer bails out. He's going to go wide there through Pouan, and that's going to cost him some positions. Looks like Riot Racing moves up into 10th. I mean, Marcio moves up to 11th. Kahlua up into 12th place. So costing a few positions there. Cletus is still in 5th place here. Choco here in 13th position, holding his own very well right now. He is, wow, GLR Racer all the way down into 15th position there, going out of Pouan there. You know, next time we get on this car, we'll have to check for some damage, see if he at least kept that out of the wall there. But boy, scary moments right there as those 5 drivers entered Pouan on lap 2. Riot Racing right here. He is starting to feel a little bit of pressure from Marcio in behind the Porsche, and he is trying, of course, to catch up to Seal and Tango 2 and apply some pressure of his own here as well. But we got some good, healthy racing happening here in race 2, and we still have 28 minutes, so plenty of it to happen yet as well. Ooh, a little bit of a mistake made there by Riot Racing. I'm not sure what that was, but that was a great attempt there by Marcio. He took that room that was allowed there, but yeah, Riot Racing was like, nah, you gotta do better than that, mate. Let's see what you got. So coming into the source, we're gonna see much of the same thing. He's gonna poke his nose in there, and he's just gonna settle back in behind. So a little bit of games being played here. I think he's making it look like he's gonna stick his nose in there and see if the Ferrari is gonna alter his course at all. And Riot Racing, he's up to the task here. He doesn't seem to be too concerned about what's happening up in behind him there, and he's been doing a great job of defending the position from Marcio here currently as we head up through already on into the Kemmel Straight here. It is the Ferrari with a little bit of a gap, but Porsche is close enough to maybe try something here into Lacombe. So we're going to stick with this up into Lacombe, and we'll go see what else is happening on the racetrack here in race 2. So into Lacombe, nothing's going to happen here. Marcio makes a bit of a mistake, in fact, actually, and maybe even loses some time there. Critico right now, 0.9 seconds ahead of Johnny B. And this is pretty much what we saw last race long. Johnny B and Critico stayed within about half a second to a second apart from each other for the majority of the race, and unfortunately for Critico, just something happened to him there, picking up some heavy damage on that race car and just dropped down through the field a little bit, but still managed to bring it home for a 5th place finish. So a good job holding on to it there, and an unfortunate thing, but that car's fixed back up, and right now, obviously, ooh, a little mistake right there he made as he is heading into campus, and Johnny B is going to be all over him here. So a battle on, and these two drivers, they've had some good battles here so far this season. So battle rejuvenated, rivalry on between these two, Johnny B and Critical Basilico, and I got to tell you, just two high-skilled drivers. Both drivers more than capable of defending and off being on the offensive as well as far as race car driving goes, and always trying to outthink each other and outsmart each other when it comes into the corners, and it makes for some great battling. And last time we've seen a great battle like that between these two, Critico did edge out Johnny B. The defense did outweigh the offense at that time, but you know, Johnny B's made mention of it a couple times in the podium interviews here over the last couple of weeks, so he is definitely up for the challenge to battle this driver as well. So it's JDR here in 16th position now, and in pit lane, so something must have happened to that Lamborghini driver there. And oh boy, we got a cluster happening. We got Scary Guy, Racer, and Choco all clustered up here, 13th, 14th, and 15th place drivers. So no matter where it is the TV crew is taking us, we're seeing some juicy happening right now. And ooh, Choco gets a little bit wide. That's going to cost him a little bit of momentum. And Racer had the best run through there. You can see that he's going to go up on the outside of the chicane, go a little bit later on the brakes, but that Audi just has a little better capability of turning than that BMW. And it shows coming into the chicane right there. And he's just able to pull away just on over a better rotating car. So battle back on here for GLR Racer. This is a healthy battle between Scary Guy and the GLR Racer. Choco's just right now, he's got a front row seat to this battle. He's just right there. He's on top of it, ready to capitalize if the mistakes made by these drivers, or hey, maybe you can capitalize on both and get two for the price of one. Anything could happen. All right, blocks him 2.1 seconds behind Johnny B, and he can see those guys just up ahead of him. They're close enough where they're in his vision here most of the way around the racetrack here as we enter into Pouon right now, actually. And Rapid Duck is not that far behind, 1.8 seconds. So Rapid Duck, well, he's rapid. There's not a whole lot of truth in with his name is not too far from the truth. He's a very quick, efficient driver. So blocks him right now, doing a great job here in 3rd place. And Rapid Duck is right there. You can see Johnny B just going around the corner off in the camera angle there, just ahead of these guys. So top 4 drivers, and anything can happen here yet 100% of the way. Kahlua is now back up at the 8th place after his little run-in with JDR there in Lacombe in lap 1. He's doing a great job of coming back to the field. So we see a fluke situation from race 1, but in the Audi driver Kahlua right now, up into P8 so far. So definitely has some pace. Ooh, Racer's sitting off the track here, it looks like. Made a mistake potentially. It looks like he just got that car fired back up. So I'm not seeing a yellow flag on the racetrack here right now, but definitely, and again, another tense moment right there for, I believe that was Tango 2 in the yellow BMW there. Maybe not Tango 2, it might have been a different driver, but 7th place is that driver. Kahlua is right there behind him. Fluke is just up ahead, 6.2 seconds. So where's Cletus at? Cletus is in 5th place here. This is where he ran the majority of race 1, was in 5th place, and that patience and sticking to that strategy did end up earning him a P4 race finish, of course, with Critical having a couple of issues in the first race there. So again, about that same position, but Fluka isn't that far behind, only 1.9 seconds as we head up into the Camel Straight through Rouge and Loradion. So definitely some battles potentially about to start brewing here between some of the drivers as they come around the racetrack. We've got Choco here in 14th position. We've got Yakast here in 12th position. We've got Marcio here in 10th position. Fluka, there he is. Fluka in 6th position. This driver had a great recovery drive in race 1, going for back of the pack, back up into the mid pack where he started the race from, and grabbing a 7th place finish. Today, race 2 here, having a better start to his race here, and a little bit further up the road, and within striking distance of podium for sure here yet early on. I mean, 22.5 minutes remaining, plenty of time for things to happen on the racetrack. Riot Racing, 9th place finish in race 1 here, and sitting currently in 9th place. He has Kahlua up in front of him there in 8th place, and he's got Marcio here in behind in 10th place. He's got a little bit of a zone there, 1 second in between each driver, so about a car length and a half, 2 car lengths, give or take, distance between each driver, so can't make the mistake, but doesn't feel immediate pressure right there either. The car is there, but he's not close enough to really make anything happen from where he is, so stick to the line, stick to your points, don't make anything, don't change anything, and just try to get it all right and as perfect as you can, and hopefully better than the driver behind and in front of you. So a nice little battle developing definitely there in the mid-pack. Critico and Johnny B here, and I mean, this is nose to tail racing basically, definitely a car length separating the two here, and how long this is going to go on for, potentially all race long with these two. Very, again, quick, efficient race car drivers. Are no slouches behind the wheel of their cars. And here we go, as we come around, it's going to be, not sure who has fastest lap currently, but right now it is not Critico. So that gap is give and take, give and take, give and take, give and take. A little bit of give, a little bit of take, a little bit of give, a little bit of take. So Johnny B still there in 2nd place, wasn't able to capitalize on how close he was there, losing a little time coming up through the chicane. JDR's here in 16th. He had to make a pit stop there, so he's a little bit on the back foot here in race 2, but he still has the car on track, which means he's still collecting points, and that is the important thing. Choco's got a little bit of war wound on the front end of his car here, as he is battling for position here right now. A scary guy for you, and let's see if he can get the job done. Again, that Audi just proving to be better in the chicane than that BMW, and holds off the position for the time being from Choco there as well. And enough of a gap here between the two cars right now. Choco's not going to be able to get inside and make anything happen on the source, so but definitely a battle happening there as well. So everywhere we're looking right now, there's something happening on the racetrack, and not surprised, sprint race 2. A lot more confidence behind the wheel of the car with these drivers, because there isn't another race after this one. They got time before the next round. If anything goes drastically wrong, they can get these cars back in condition and running again and good to go for the next race. So a little less caution in race 2, and a little more desire to push and win and gain position, because again, there is no race after this race here. This is it for the evening. You can see the sun setting here around the racetrack as well, so the drivers have a lot of things happening here, a lot of factors. Johnny B's gotten back around Critico again, so Johnny B holding strong here in the lead right now. Critico sitting in 2nd, Bloxham is in 3rd, and pretty wide entry into the Paul Frere curve. There is that Honda intersection behind a Critico, but it looks like he got a decent run there actually, and gained some time on Johnny B there, so maybe not a mistake, maybe just a really wide entry into the corner, and there's something he knows that just is working for him there. But he has definitely closed the gap back up to the leader here, so pretty good healthy battle going on up here in the front 3-4 drivers as well. But lead change on lap 6 here is Johnny B now leading this race as we start lap 7, and it's going to be Critico Basilico here in 2nd place, Bloxham right in behind in 3rd, and Rapid Duck not too far behind him in 4th place. Again, all 4 drivers, very, very high caliber race car drivers here on the set of Corsa Competizione. Alright, so we got Kahlua 94 very, very tight up on a Tango 2 here. And again, Riot Racing still right there as well. Sorry, I had Marcel in my head for some reason because I've seen the Porsche in the background there. But a nice little 3-way battle here for 7th, 8th, and 9th place as well between these 3 cars. So right now Tango 2 has about a 1 second gap on Riot Racing, but I mean, Kahlua is right there within a car length, within striking distance. So a good run up Eau Rouge and through Radion into the Camel Straight here, and that might give Kahlua who's number 30? Oh, and a drive-through penalty for Kahlua for track limits here. So, oh boy, that is unfortunate for this driver, and it just, sometimes when it goes wrong, it goes wrong. And for this driver, race 2 is definitely gone wrong. So he's going to maximize what he can here, but again, he is going to have to serve a drive-through penalty there. Tango 2 made a little mistake there, ended up going in the grass, going to succeed that position, but he's going to get it right back as soon as that driver serves that drive-through penalty. Spa has a long pit lane as well. That's a big penalty here at Spa, so that's a tough one to have to sit on in a 35-minute race right there, and most likely will end any charge of a top 10 finish for that driver as well here tonight. Rapid Duck in 4th place, 4.6 seconds behind podium here, so losing a little bit of pace off those guys up in front, but has 6 seconds off 5th place driver Cletus. Racer here in 15th. A little bit of damage on that car there, so having a little struggle here in the midway point of the race, or early midway point of the race, I guess. We have GLR Seal in 11th place. Marcio up in front of him, Caston behind him. So these, not an unfamiliar set of drivers here. They were battling pretty good in the first race, and we're going to do it all over again here in race 2. So that's fantastic. They gave us some great action to watch in race 1, and Marcio's in front of all this battling here right now, but Seal is in the middle, and that McLaren in the end. So let's see what happens as we head up into Blois Chamont, up into the chicane here on the end of lap 7, and see if anybody can gain or make something happen here coming into the final sector of Spa. So a little bit wide goes that McLaren right there. BMW's just taking a pretty comfortable line right there. He's not panicking. He seems very calm right now in the position he's in. He doesn't seem to be overdriving that BMW at all coming through the corner, and he's doing a good job. But boy, the McLaren got a good run through that chicane there. Gas, he is right up on the back end of that BMW. So we're definitely going to see a potential battle maybe coming up into Lacombe at the end of the Kemmel Straight. We'll have to see how the run through Rouge and Laurentian goes here now, but Marcio's just got enough of an edge here right now on that BMW where slipstream is there, but it's not a deciding factor as of yet. But that McLaren, on the other hand, is right where he needs to be on the backside of that BMW coming up into the Kemmel Straight, and let's see what happens here. Let's see if anybody tries to make something happen to Lacombe. Lacombe is a good passing opportunity. We've seen lots of battles happen into this sector here in race 1 and race 2. It does provide for some pretty good overtaking, but you got to be in the right position at the right time, and if you are going to make an overtake into Lacombe, you definitely have to be very decisive about that overtake and make it happen, because if you don't, it can cost you, it can cost both drivers, or even more than that if something goes wrong. So it is a risk versus reward sector to make a move in, but definitely doable. Tango 2 is in 8th, and drive-through penalty is cleared by Kahlua there now, so we'll see where he settles out on all of this and see if he can pick some position back up. That was a tough call to have to take in a sprint race, but doing the right thing, and of course clearing that penalty, so good job to the team and the drivers that are responding to race control very quickly. Tango 2, he is on the backside of racing here, half a second, basically a car length at this point. So I guess the question is the BMW stronger or is the Ferrari stronger right now? We still got that beautiful three-way battle in behind as well with Marcio, Seal, and Yakast in the McLaren. So, what else can we say? But we're having a pretty good race battle here in race 2 all across the field. Doesn't seem to really matter where anybody is. There's something happening. We got Cletus and Fluka, second separating the two of them. So Fluka slowly but surely just ticking a little time away on that BMW here, and with 14 minutes remaining, that's definitely enough time for something to happen here between Fluka and Cletus yet as well. Choco's in 12th place. He is 9 seconds. Yeah, he's in a good spot right now. He's chilling. He is chilling. He just needs to bring this thing home. Yakast in 11th place. He is tucked right up in behind Seal still, and Marcio still holding strong in front of this little 3-car pack there in 9th place. But again, BMW is just under fire from the McLaren coming through the final chicane, and this time he's going to take a look. He's going to try and get the job done coming into La Source here. He's got the inside position. Great respect given right there by Seal, and the McLaren is going to get the job done for the time being here. So it is going to be Yakast now up in the 10th place and Seal down into 11th, but that could change very quickly as they're close together. Fluka and Cletus here, got a little bit of dirt on the tires. Very, very good. A good acknowledgement of what was going on there. He just stuck out of the throttle just for a second there to get out of the dirt and then back onto it. That could have cost him a spin there, but instead he still keeps charging Cletus and only losing about a tenth of a second there with that little mistake there. So Ferrari's still charging hard here on that BMW up in front, but Cletus is a quick driver as well, so This is not going to be an easy task for the Ferrari driver chasing here in 6th place currently. Riot Racing here in 7th position. We've got Critico here in 2nd. So Critico is right there, still on the backside of the leader, Johnny B. Roles reversed at this point as Johnny B just staying a little bit ahead of Critico, but blocks him. Starting to really close in here as well. So it's about a second in between 1st and 2nd, and about a second in between 2nd and 3rd. So 2 seconds separating the whole podium here right now on the racetrack. And one little wiggle, one little anything is going to potentially change everything up front here. It could change a position, it could change multiple positions. Maybe we've seen it in the past. We've seen the leaders take each other out just battling by accident. So I mean, anything could happen here. But right now, 12 minutes remaining. I don't think it's an immediate issue here for these drivers. I think they're just, again, trying to close up the gap and then decide when it is they're going to try and get the job done. So we'll see some heavy battling definitely within the latter dropping minutes of the race, but right now I think it's just strategic placement of the race cars, trying to get them to where they need to be. Scary Guy here in 15th. We've got Bloxham in 3rd position. Johnny B's in the lead. Kahlua here all the way down into 14th position after that drive-through penalty, and that was a tough penalty right there. And you can see that car has been battling. He's got some scars on it here in race 2, so it's been some tough racing here for Kahlua here today. Rapid Duck in 4th place, having a I mean, he's good. He's got no pressure in behind him right here. He's a little bit off pace and blocks him up in front, but not a ton. It is very, very minuscule amounts per lap, but in a good position here. I mean, 4th place points after the race that he had in race 1. Can come home after having to fix that race car up from being hit pretty hard into the wall. I would say that's a pretty good race too, no matter how you spin it myself. But I mean, hey, I'm just a commentator, not the racer in the team. We've got Racer here in 13th place. He's got Kahlua kind of starting to put some pressure on him here. This is battle for position as well, so. And Racer's just going to get around. You can see Racer just kind of let him by there. He didn't really fight it, so maybe he knows something a little bit more than what we can see. Obviously, there's damage on that race car, but how much really we can't tell from here. He could be really fighting that race car, but he definitely did not fight the attempted pass there from Kahlua, so maybe a little bit of trouble underneath the hood of that car there. GLR Seal. A little bit of healthy battling, scarring on this car. Just a little bit of rear scratching and a little, some bump drafting action happening, I think, here for the most part for this driver. But ooh, I thought he was getting a little bit slideways there as we're heading into Pouon, but it was just the way that the shadows were reflecting on the car there. But Yakas is pretty, I mean, he is on him. He's not letting him get away. He's continuing to apply that pressure. He's really trying to force that driver into making a mistake, and the driver's doing a great job at responding, defending, putting the car in the right place, and not making the mistakes. So Seal's doing a great job at really holding down that 10th place spot here right now from the McLaren. Tango 2 still chasing Riot Racing here. Very, very close battle between these two here right now, and great battles there. But look at that, Fluke is right on Cletus here. So let's see what's happening here as into the source. Oh, I thought Fluke was going to take a look there, but he's going to go for the cutback coming out of the source. Cletus just does a great job at just doing his thing, man. Cletus, he didn't even bat an eyelash there. He's just like, yeah, I'm just going to hold the line. I know you're not close enough really to get anything to happen there. So he just takes that optimal line, and it looks like it got a great exit there. But Fluka is still right there tucked in behind. So a little bit of slipstream here. Let's see if Fluka can try and make something happen into Lacombe on lap 12. But we are starting to near the end of this race. We're under 10 to go. With 8 minutes 40 seconds remaining. I mean, drivers are definitely starting to think about position. They're starting to think about points. They're starting to think about where their car is at and how it's feeling, and they're obviously looking at their positioning on the racetrack. Thomas coming in with that like and that share. We appreciate you, my guy, as well. So good healthy racing here at Spa today, and I love the dual sprint race factor here. That was a good twist in the middle of the season. So really having fun with this Choco here in 12th place. Yakas in 11th, and again, just chilling right there behind 10th place driver Seal in that BMW. I mean, maybe this is a strategy. I think that is Marcio just up ahead of him there. Maybe if they figure they can play nice a little bit, that'll reel in that final driver, and they can turn it into a three-way battle. It's hard to say. Egon coming in with that thumbs up as well. Welcome in, brother. Marcio here in ninth place. He is the driver those two are trying to track down. 2.4, it was 2.9, so maybe a little strategy coming from the McLaren and BMW in behind it. Maybe, you just never know. Fluka still trying to reel Cletus in here, and Cletus has opened up a little bit of a gap at the middle part of the racetrack here, so the Ferrari driver, just as they head into the Paul Frere curve here, really trying to make up some time here, and again he's going to go wide, and boy, that has been some dangerous territory for Fluka here all day long in the Paul Frere right there. So now we head into Blochemont. That's going to cost him a little bit more time on Cletus up ahead, and let's see what happens as we head through Blochemont there. He goes really wide there as well, so maybe the car not quite sitting underneath him the way he wants it to right now. Alright, Johnny B in the lead here. 2.1 seconds is that gap. You guys excited about the update coming 27th, getting some new cars, physics update as well? Oh yeah, of course we are, brother. Of course we are. That's going to be great. Some new cars, new track. Of course, tire update's always great. I've heard mixed reviews about the tire update as far as the PC version goes, but well, I mean, all we can do is wait and see at this point, right? But I definitely know that the ACC community is definitely excited about it as well. A good job on the developers. I mean, it was 8 months from the first PC update to getting the console. This time, I think it only took them 3. So definitely fine-tuning that ACC machine over there in head office. So good job on them. You know, really good job on them. Scary guy here. This car's looking in rough shape here as well. He's had a little bit of a run-in with the wall or another car here at some points as well. But boy, that car was pretty scuffed up on the right-hand side there. Blocks 2.8 seconds in behind Critical. Critical's about 1.9 seconds in behind the race leader here. So the race leader's kind of starting to spread out. Bloxham is our fastest man on the racetrack there. I think that was a 2:17 we just seen. Sorry, it was a 2:18.585 there that we just seen there. So that is fastest lap on the racetrack right now, and I think only a 1/10 of a second off the fastest lap last race as well. So on pace in both races here. So the weather not seeming to affect the driver's pace in a sense too much. Kahlua here in 12th position. We've got Rapid here in 4th, and Rapid's doing a pretty good job here. And again, he's just chilling, man. I mean, 4th place is locked down. All he's got to do is bring that car around in one piece without any incidents, and for the next 5.5 minutes, that'd be a good points grab for him here after the way the first race went for that team. GLR Racer still in 14th. You can see he's suffering from damage there. He's definitely struggling with that race car. Yacast has taken 10th position over on GLR Seal here now, so that BMW finally has lost that battle with the McLaren driver here, but it doesn't mean it's over. 5 minutes remaining. Anything can happen here still, and they are reeling in the Porsche driver. It's 1.7 seconds now, that gap, so yeah, maybe another battle happening here for these two drivers. We'll have to wait and see what happens. Tango 2 in 8th place, 1.3 seconds in behind 7th place Riot Racing. So Riot Racing's just been edging out that driver little bit by little bit by little bit here near the end of the race, and just not allowing Tango 2 to get close enough to try and make a move or a pass or a position there. Cletus and Fluka having a good battle here, but Cletus is doing much of the same thing. He is doing a good job at just opening up the gap little bit by little bit by little bit on Fluka. That time he was 0.2 of a second faster around the track than Fluka was, so just helping him maintain some pressure in behind late in the race is Cletus right now by just being a little bit quicker than the Ferrari in behind him. Choco's in 13th. I mean, Choco's in a good spot here. He's got GLR Racer 8 seconds in behind him here, but there's some damage on that car. He seems like he's struggling with that car. There is damage on this race car as well, but I don't know if there's enough time to make up 7.5 seconds from Racer to Choco at this point. Of course, without something crazy happening on it, something happening anyways. Yacast here, he's 1 second. He is absolutely reeling in that Porsche driver. He is on the charge now. The loud pedal is down in the McLaren, and he is out for one more spot here. As of course, 8th place from there is about 9 seconds ahead. With the amount of time left on the clock, it's going to be a tough call, tough send to get that position. Anything can happen though. But right now, of course, the task at hand is catching up Arcano Marcio and getting around him. So might see a battle between Porsche, McLaren, and, well, as they start battling, that's going to bring GLR Seal back into play, and it'll be a Porsche, McLaren, BMW showdown here again. So we'll have to keep our eye on that. Fluka 1.6 in behind Cletus, losing a little bit of pace on that driver right now. Critico 2.4 seconds in behind Johnny B, so Johnny B is doing a great job at managing the pace in the lead of the race right now. MX falling just a little off the pace currently there as well. Scary Guy for you in 15th position, but there's Blocks in 3rd place, hanging out, staying strong, doing his thing. Johnny B, hey, I mean, this is a tough position to be in. He's now the fastest man on the track, 2:18. Oh, he just improved that best lap at the 2:18.477 now. Fastest driver on the racetrack here currently, as I don't think Critical or Bloxham took that, so his car is starting to really come into him here in, it looks like, the latter part of the stint, and that may, of course, be by design. You just never know what these race teams have up their sleeves when they set these cars up. Kahlua here in 12th place. Again, been a tough day for tough race 2 for him. A little bit of an incident, putting him in the back. He started making his way back through and then picking up the drive-through penalty for track limit violations. Had to go serve a drive-through penalty. Finds himself back down in the 14th position, and tough to make it up from there so far through the rest of the race. So it's been some tough racing for him, but had a pretty decent result in race 1, so not all lost here this weekend. Rapid Duck, 3rd place. Critico, not sure what happened to Critico here, but he is dropping through the field, and again, maybe an incident on the track here for Critico. And it was about this time last race we had much of the same thing happen to that driver. Oh, that is absolutely heartbreaking there. So Bloxham now moves up into 2nd place. I'm just trying to find out what's happening here. That gives Rapid Duck a 3rd place finish here, or a third place position, sorry, here currently on the racetrack with, well, 1 lap remaining after this lap. Cletus moves up again into 4th place. That puts Fluka into 5th, and I'm not seeing Critico anywhere here, so that must have been something serious that happened there, and he may have that car in pit lane, I'm not sure, but Cletus here in 4th, Choco in 12th, Yakast, battling right now with Marcio, so here we go. We knew this was coming. He was reeling in that Porsche driver. Now it is on. He has just gotten around, but the battle is still going here as we're heading down through the Brussels, I believe this is. But the McLaren does have right now the position, so Yakast has moved up into 8th place. Marcio sitting here in 9th position just in behind. Great battle between those two. And Marcio's now under fire from the BMW in behind from Seal as well. So 2 positions potentially being, nope, he's going to get that back there. So great battling by Marcio right there, and we'll get onto that car here right now. Losing position, the Outcast is making a little mistake there heading into that section. He is on the final lap. We're getting word from race control there as well. So Marcio did a great job at just holding Seal off, and boy, Seal's really applying the pressure on him here now, and that's allowed the McLaren driver to kind of get a little bit of a breathing space there in between him and the Porsche driver, and with it being the final lap, well, breathing room, always important. Alright, GDR here in 15th position. We've got Scary Guy for you here in 14th. We've got Bloxham here in 2nd place, 7 seconds down the road. So probably no shot at a 1st place here, but he's done a great job and now might be rewarded with that 1 extra step on the podium here. And that puts, again, Rapid Duck into 3rd place. So it does look like Critico has put the car behind the wall here. It looks like a full retirement from the Honda driver there, and that is unfortunate. Absolutely hate to see it. Rapid Duck 3rd place. This driver's just been chilling, man. He's been doing his thing all race long, and he's going to get rewarded with a podium finish here, it looks like, today as well. So really rough race 1, rewarded with a podium in race 2. So hard work does pay off when the teams give it everything they got, and this is prime example right here. We've got GLR Racer in 12th position. Damage on that race car, but hanging in there, man. He's hanging in there. He's going to take this checkered flag. He's got JDR up in front, but that is not a battle for position. That is technically a blue flag car right there. We have Seal here in 10th position. We have Tango 2 here in 7th. We've got Cletus here up into 4th place, and again, that's where he finished in race 1. So 2 4th place finishes. That's good points for Cletus and his race team here today for that BMW as well. So definitely probably not going to hear too many complaints coming from that driver. We've got Choco here in 13th position. We've got Yakast here in 8th, and we've got Arcano here in 9th place. Got Fluka here in 5th place. Got Riot Racing in 6th. We got JDR in 15th. We've got Scary Guy in 14th. We've got Bloxham here in second place. Johnny B's catching up to, I'm not sure who that is there, but he's got Choco. It is Choco up ahead of him here, but that is going to be a checkered flag, if I'm not mistaken, for our race leader. So back-to-back wins here tonight at Spa for Johnny B, and that's some good racing right there. Bloxham's going to come around here in second place. Rapid Duck is going to take home a third place finish here. Cletus coming around. He's coming into the chicane for the final time here. He's going to bring this beautiful BMW here in fourth position today as well, and looking real good here. So that's a good job to Cletus. Fluka is going to bring it home in fifth place. He gave a good run to Cletus here, but just wasn't able to quite to grab that extra position. But good race finish there for Fluka. Riot Racing, ninth place in race one. He's going to gain some positions here in race two. Sixth place finish here in race two. So good points for this driver as well, and good racing here by Riot Racing today. We've got Tango 2 here in 7th position, looking real good and strong and solid. He had an up and down race, but he comes in a nice 7th place finish. Yakast, he worked hard. Again, battled all race long, coming home in 8th place today as well, so great job to him. Marcio coming home top 10 here as well with 9th place. GLR Seal's going to take home the final 10th place position there. Kalua, after all things said and done, drive-through penalty, incident into Lacombs on lap 1. He is going to bring this thing home in, well, we're not 100% sure yet, because those drivers are, of course, getting into pit lane is changing the standings up a little bit here. So I believe Klua was in like 12th or 13th position, but doing a really great job here. So we're still going to stick with him here as he comes through. It's going to be 10th place for him as he comes through the chicane for the final time as well. So great job by him. And Racer here, he's just coming through right now. Scary Guy for You, just coming through with the Audi in 12th place there. JDR's 2 laps down as well. Good racing. Thanks for hosting, Tim, and great comms as always. Have a great night, day. Hey, appreciate you, John. You myself, brother. Take care of yourself. We appreciate your support. Alright, chicane. 2 more corners for GLR Racer here, and he's going to bring this thing home. I believe it's in 12th place. I think, if my memory serves me correctly here, don't take what's on screen for full face value quite yet. And that is going to be GLR Racers. So we have to wait to see what the official race results are once we get to that screen. So just hang tight here for me. Alright, so Johnny B with the race win and fastest lap on the racetrack. It was MX Bloxham in second, Rapid Duck in third, Cletus in fourth, Pluka in fifth, Riot Racing in sixth place, Tango 2 in seventh, Yakast in eighth, Marcio in ninth, Seal in 10th. Kalua was in 11th, Racer was in 12th, Scary Guy in 13th, JDR 14th, Critical in 15th, H. Josh in 16th, Tenacious in 17th. I'm not sure where Choco finished. I think Choco finished in 13th actually, but a great job by our racers. I mean, hey, that's not easy to do. 2 35-minute sprint races at Spa, plus 2 rounds of qualifying, plus changing weather conditions, sun track conditions. That was some tough racing out there, but lots of points up for grabs there tonight for all our drivers. So alright, so really we're just we're going to sit tight here for a second. We've got one of our drivers already up in the booth here with Johnny B. Johnny B knows the routine. We've talked to Johnny B quite a few times here so far this season. Again, he is, I believe, our championship's point leader. So we'll see. Who pops into our chats here? So lots of podiums available here tonight, and really unfortunate what happened to Critico here tonight. It's just crazy. He had such an up and down night tonight, and you know, sometimes that's just the way racing goes. I guess it's unfortunate, but you know, he'll be back and try his luck again in round 6. Alright, so we'll just give the drivers about a minute here or so to collect themselves up, get into the chat, all that great stuff, and we'll fire off some driver interviews, have a couple of discussions. Of course, Bloxham, and you know, some of these guys knew the routine, right? So we do have Rapid Duck for 3rd place in race 2, and we have Kalua 94 also sitting in 2nd place for race 1. So those two drivers as well. We'll see if they pop in. But we do have Bloxham and Johnny B, of course, both drivers finishing on the podium in both races. MX finished in 3rd and 2nd, and Johnny B taking back-to-back race wins here at Spa today. So Johnny B, well, just adding to that points cushion here at this point. This is a determined driver. I mean, we spoke to him a lot. You guys have heard what he's had to say a lot this season. And, well, we're about to hear it again very shortly here, so I'm just giving another few seconds for these guys to come in, but maybe in the meantime, we'll just go jump in and have a little chat with MX Bloxham here. We'll start with him since he's here. Hello. Fun racing here at Spa. That was some great stuff from you guys tonight. We had a good solid handful of very equally paced drivers up front running these two sprint races here tonight, and you do manage to come out with podiums in both races. So 3rd place for race 1 and 2nd place for race 2. So I mean, let's go over the racing today. We had changing track conditions. You had sun to sun going down. You had sprint racing, which means drivers are going to be a little more let's try to gain positions. So how does that kind of change your readiness and preparedness coming into a bunch of endurance races and then coming into a couple of short sprint races to start with? And then just talk us through how your night went. Oh, can they hear me? Oh yeah, no, my stuff's working. Maybe my stuff's working.
I can hear you just fine. I might be muted.
He might be just not away. Oh, well, we got Johnny B. Let's talk to Johnny B. I mean, much of the same question, right? I mean, we've been running 60 and 50 and 70-minute endurance races so far in the first half of the season. You guys head over to France here. We hit Circuit of Spa. Now, this is typically a track you expect to see a very elongated endurance race. It's famous for it. It is suited for it. And you guys get 2 sprint races today. How do you change your mental preparedness for sprint racing versus endurance racing?
Well, it's tough. I mean, you're basically running quality laps for 35 minutes or as close as you can get to it. But yeah, definitely a different change in mindset. You need to be aggressive off the line, from the jump, as opposed to, 60, 90-minute races or longer. You can get into a rhythm, protect your car, and just kind of let the race come to you. But not in these. And I didn't get a good jump on either race. I fell behind Basilico in both of them. But yeah, you're just going to the wall from start to finish and just giving it everything and hoping you don't burn out your tires in 35 minutes.
Absolutely. I mean, and then you qualify, you do race 1, you get a feeling for the track, you get a feeling for the car, you get a feeling obviously for the competitors. It seems to be always race 1 seems to be a little more complacent. The drivers obviously want to get the car to survive race 1 to make race 2, so you can double down on those points for your championship charge. But and then we hit race 2. Race 2 is a little bit different. You have changing track conditions, so you got to alter the setup a little bit to compensate for it's going from day to night transition. And you've already got now you've assessed your competition. You've gotten a feel for the car, but the car might not act the same. I mean, how do you switch that too as well? Going from one sprint to the next, within just a short amount of time from each other.
It was tough. I mean, in particular today, we had a pretty big temperature change just from race 1 to race 2. I think we were 32, 33 degree track temp race 1, and then around 18, 19 for race 2. And all of our practice conditions and everything all week were in those warmer temperatures. So I think it was kind of a crapshoot for most people, at least it was for me, on where we needed to be tire-wise for the pressures. That was the most difficult part. Thankfully, I nailed it. My tire pressures were great, but colder track, it was a little more slick. Towards the end, for me, the curbs became a little more slick, got a little dicey, but yeah, very different conditions from race 1 to race 2, and that made it tough.
Absolutely, and again, the drivers are typically a little more willing to throw caution to the wind, I guess, for a lack of a better expression at the moment during that second sprint race, because there's not another race after that race. If something happens, you make a mistake and you get a little bit of damage to the car, it's you're not hurting yourself going into another race a few hours later. You put it on the truck, you take it to the next track, and you deal with it going into the next week, right? So we did see that, but great battling all throughout the track there as well. And you were in the right place at the right time, and both times managed to find your way around a very tough race car driver, and then of course control the pace. But what we did see is it looked like your car really kind of started to turn on in the final 10 minutes in that second race as well. You know, you were running pretty good consistent times, and all of a sudden it seemed like you just all of a sudden found a whole little bit of a different pace and started to pull away from that group, and it just really looked like that the team, the crew, nailed the rest of the tune-up to go around those tires there as well at the end of the race. Was that the case? Did it feel better than it did at the beginning of the race?
Yeah, it did. And then, I mean, the beginning of the race, same as race one, I was in a bit of dirty air behind Basilico. And I think I had the pace to kind of stay up on his bumper if I wanted to, but when you get up there, getting into the corners and stuff like that, it became far more dicey. So I laid back about a second back, and then, yeah, it kind of kept things more in check. But I started off with the tire pressures probably just a hair high, and then as the track temp dropped, another degree or two, they were right in the sweet spot, and then the car was great after that. I think I had my fastest 2 or 3 laps of the race in the last 3 or 4. So yeah, at the end it felt really really good.
Well, can't have ask for any better timing for your car to just hook up than being in the race lead with about 5 minutes remaining. So, picking up a fastest lap there too as well in race two. So picking up a little bit extra love there as far as points ways goes. I believe you were leading the championship standings coming in today. Am I correct on that?
Yeah, I believe so by 1 or 2 points. I think myself, Basilico, and Bloxham were within 3 points of each other, and yeah, and then of course all three of us were battling up towards the top, so it was crunch time.
Absolutely, and I mean a little bit of a comfort zone, I guess, for you now with Basilico having both races and just not very well for him there, getting in a little bit of trouble and just not able to capitalize on that good run he had, unfortunately, here tonight. So it's going to give you a little cushion on him, but I mean, you still have Bloxham right there. He's nipping at your heels, and he's not really letting you get any ground gain. So we got 3 rounds left. I mean, I guess what's the thought process moving forward here now?
Happy I got a cushion today. Spa happens to be my best track, at least my best track on the calendar by a pretty decent margin. And I would imagine that Bloxham is going to be faster than me the last 3 tracks we go to this year. So, I had to get that cushion a little bit because he's going to be eating away at me, and I'm going to have to, kind of white knuckle to hang on the last couple races. But you got to cash in where you can, and just kind of strike while the iron's hot, and that's what I had tonight.
Absolutely, and nothing better than a couple of race wins and a fastest lap to go with it in one of the 2 races as well. So, congratulations on the great night of racing as always in that Audi. And I guess anything you want to add to the night, and any shout outs or thank yous you want to toss out there?
Shout out to IRL as always for putting the races on. And I mean the grid tonight between Bloxham, Basilico, Rapid Duck, Cletus, Fluka. Like, I mean, there was, and then a couple new names I didn't really recognize were up there too, especially the first race. So that was probably the most stacked grid on on the top end that we've seen this year, and that was awesome. I mean, it was just a blast to be out there with those guys, and quali. For the first 2 spots, I think the second race was less than a tenth. I want to say like
I,
25.
I believe it was almost about just a hair over 100th separating the two top. I believe. Yep.
Yeah, awesome, right? You want to come out, you want to compete, you want to be pushed, you want to push other people, and it was just a blast. So thank you to everybody who put it on, all the admins that worked so hard all week to get everything set up, and I appreciate all they do, and looking forward to next week and the last 3 weeks of the season.
Absolutely. Well, great racing again, and looking pretty cozy in that Audi. Here is our defending champion here as well, Johnny B. But congratulations, and well, go and enjoy those double race wins with the team, because that is definitely well earned here today.
Thank you, sir, and thank you for being on the call as always. I look forward to when I get done here going and watching it back.
Appreciate it. Awesome racing as always. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's see if he's kicking around here. Do we have our Bloxham here with us? We do. Fantastic. All right, third and second place finishes here for race 1 and 2, and definitely had the pace here to challenge for winning here today. But as Johnny B had just kind of touched base on, we had a pretty quick top 6 here, especially tonight. How was that on the track racing those guys, and what's going through your mind? You're so used to endurance racing, you make a mistake, okay, you know what? I got lots of racing left. We can try to make something happen here. Maybe we can get ourselves back up there. This is a different scenario. You've got half the amount of race time. You're not going to be making a pit stop most likely unless something happens to you. You really got to try and push the cars to its limits every time around to maximize. How do you prepare for that?
Man, just balls out. Let them hang. these little sprint races, like Johnny kind of touched on, you got to run quality laps basically every lap. They were tick quicker than me tonight. I just tried to get out of here with what I could, and hell, 2 podium finishes. I'm stoked on it this weekend.
Absolutely, and I mean, yeah, there's some great battling with some drivers that very equally on pace and skill, based off of what we're seeing tonight. And I mean, what's it like racing drivers like that? You're trying to gain, but you can't really gain, but they're not really losing you, and then you finally get on the back end of them, and you've got a whole new problem. Now you got to figure out how you're going to get around that driver. How do you manage all that behind a race car? Is it a risk versus reward thing? You kind of try to decipher how much time's left in the race and decide how patient you're going to be, or does it come down to each driving style in sprint racing on kind of what happens in those situations?
I still try to be a bit patient about it. I don't just want to throw it in there on somebody. Sometimes you might lose the patience and go ahead and try for it. But first race, awesome battle, start to finish. It was great. Kalua, I guess that's his name. It was a hell of a battle. It was really fun. The second race, I was just trying to stay with those two as close as I could and hope they started battling.
Absolutely, and I mean, it was much of the same thing between Critico and Johnny B up in front of you there, especially in the second race. They weren't really battling; they were just kind of managing the gap from each other. And if one of them made a mistake, the other one would just kind of swap that position around, and it was much of the same game. Just again playing that gap management, try to get them just out of that slipstream. So unfortunately for you, that didn't work on your favor as far as hard battling goes. But you still had a good drive, and I mean, you knew that you had Rapid Duck sitting there and behind you, in fourth place as well, just a few seconds off. I mean, you're no stranger to running against that driver as well. So, I mean, does that play in your mind as a driver as well? Even though, your crew's on the radio saying you got about a 4 or 5 second leeway on that, does that still play on your mind knowing that he's back there trying to hunt you down?
It does. I was really just trying to focus on the two ahead of me the whole time and not look back. I try to not look in my mirrors much at all. If you're looking in your mirrors, you're not going forward.
That's a true story, and of course you're not paying attention to what's going on in front of you either. So, Spa's already a tricky enough racetrack. It's definitely designed for good racing, but we were talking to the viewers about how the artificial curbing, the green curbing on the outside of the actual curbs here on the racetrack, and how that is quite dangerous here around the racetrack. If you get out there, you got these heated up racing slicks, and of course that artificial curbing doesn't really retain the same amount of heat as the asphalt does per se. So when you get out there, what's kind of going on in your mind? Are you just kind of lifting and just trying to get through it, or are you just going to hold on that throttle and try to plow through it? I mean, what happens when you get out there on that icier situation?
Hold on. Stay on it and hold on. Just try to not lose much time. Try to not lose any time at all.
Absolutely, and it definitely seemed like the race officials here tonight were quite lenient on the penalties as far as track limitations went here as well. We've seen a couple of penalties handed over, but overall, of course, race control taking it pretty easy on the drivers tonight. And are you surprised to see that in sprint racing? That race control is kind of letting you guys go out there and have your fun and have your racing. Really surprised to see that tonight. Of course, Spa is one of those tracks where track limits is kind of a thing, but race control really just kind of lets you guys out there and have your fun tonight. So, are you a little bit surprised to see that as well?
Didn't matter. Let us race. It was good, hard racing. It was fun.
Absolutely, you're such a man of many words. Sometimes, no, I'm just bugging you. I mean, you're a quick driver. I mean, this. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, these podium drivers, they definitely don't need to be here to do this. It's just something we love to do for the fans and the drivers to build that relationship with their fan base and talk to their fans. But you got to realize too, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, these drivers they're working hard while they're racing these races. I mean, it is no joke. These guys are on force feedback equipment, and ACC is very realistic as far as how the race cars react, and everything happens as the car wears down, it hooks up, all those things. So these drivers, it's a workout. This is a legitimate sport. So I mean, all things aside, some of these drivers, they work hard, they're sweating it out, they're tired, and maybe they just want to go and have a cold one after the race potentially. So, but yeah, no, I mean, you guys do work hard, and this is no joke over here at the Set of Course of Competition. You really got to be hyper focused 110% of the way around this racetrack, or the game really does make you pay the price for it. But you were definitely focused in here tonight with 2 podium finishes. So, I mean, a few points behind Johnny B now heading into the final part of the season. I mean, what's your goal? Do you change anything in your practice now, or do you just kind of keep moving forward and see what happens here over the next 3 weeks?
Push time now. These last 3 tracks, I feel they favor me a little bit. So, time to unleash the beast, man, and go for the championship.
Ooh, I love that, Chad. How about that? Hey, time to unleash the beast and go for a championship. Well, I mean, that's what we'd love to see. And you're definitely more than capable of it, and we definitely can't wait to see what yourself and Johnny B and the rest of the field is really going to bring down over the next 3 rounds here for us. But I mean, great racing from you again here today. You survived, and I mean, the big thing in sprint racing, especially around Spa, is survival early on. You did that. You kept the car in the right place. You kept it safe and sound, and brought it home for 2 podium finishes and some really good points here this weekend. So, congratulations on great racing from yourself as well. And I guess anything you want to add to that, and any thank yous you may want to toss out there.
Definitely thanks to the IRL admins as usual. The races don't just put themselves on. So thanks to the group. Thanks for a lot of people stepping up this week. Thanks to the Audi crew. Let's go again next weekend and pull out a W this time.
Absolutely, and well, we'll be in the booth waiting to see if it's Bloxham standing on the top of the podium next weekend, ladies and gentlemen. But congratulations, great racing, and well, we'll let you go so you can maybe have that cold one now.
Thanks, sir.
All right, cheers, and great racing as always. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we do not have the other 2. We do not have Kahlua 94, and we do not have Rapid Duck here in our podium interviews here this evening, and that's fine. Again, this is not something that's mandatory for the drivers. This is just something that if they want to come in to talk to the broadcasters a little bit about how their races went for the podium finishers, we love to give them their time in that light, and of course, again, talk to the fans, you guys and gals at home watching. So some great racing here tonight. Absolutely loved the double sprint race feature here tonight. It really shook things up. I think the standings are going to really jostle around heading into round 6, 7, and 8. Going to be interesting to see what happens. I believe it is 2 weeks before our next race, but I'm just going to go confirm that right now. Yes, so we're going to be 2 week before our next race, and of course that race is going to be Zolder, and it's going to be a 70-minute endurance race. And well, if anybody remembers Zolder from last season, well, I recommend not missing Zolder in 2 weeks' time. So of course it is the United States Independence Day or national holiday next weekend, so of course all the race teams will have that time off to go home, spend with their families and loved ones, and then we'll be back to racing at Zolder the following week. So a couple of weeks time here, ladies and gentlemen, we'll be right back at it here with the GT3 Summer Series presented by Infinite Racing League, partnered with Coach Dave Academy and SimGrid. Of course, if you want to register and get involved with these races, you do need to go into SimGrid and sign up for SimGrid. From there, you follow the Infinite Racing League on the SimGrid website. From there, you'll get a Discord invite, and you can keep up with everything that's going on. All registrations for all events run here at IRL are done through the SimGrid process, so it is a vital part of the racing process here at the Infinite Racing League. And I'm your host for the evening, GT45 Gaming. I appreciate everybody being here. Hope you all enjoyed the broadcast. It was some fun, spicy racing here at Spa today. 2 races, 2 sets of points for the drivers, and a big shakeup in the standings. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time here from the Infinite Racing League at GT45 Gaming. We love you. You all matter. Stay winning and stay hot on the racetrack, ladies and gentlemen. Keep the tires a-rolling.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only
me, I could go back in time. I tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be rigid, always work towards a prime. Surround yourself with open minds, people can change your life. A few friends with intent can help you feel alive. Find a passion, take some action, and with a little time, just be patient, make a statement, try to enjoy your life. They'll try to kick you while you're down, they wanna rise up while you drown, they wanna fill your head with doubt, they're silently scared that you'll figure it out. I'll make it look like I'm losing, won't bother hiding my bruises, and when they finally think you're wounded, then it's your chance